Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Civil society in parts of Durban will today march to the SAPS provincial headquarters in support of KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations about a criminal syndicate which has allegedly infiltrated the law enforcement system, including the police and judiciary. The Community Policing Forum in KZN has praised the establishment of a commission of inquiry into the shocking allegations involving Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and National Deputy Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. The forum says despite skepticism by some, it has confidence that this process will yield the desired results. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports from KZN.
The Community Policing Forum, responsible for helping police fight crime in communities, says a commission of inquiry is the only fair process to probe the claims made by Provincial Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The forum says it's only the inquiry where all parties will be able to present their side of the story. Its Provincial Secretary, Siyanda Biela.
They want to ensure that every process and every stone is turned before a decision is made. So Minister Mchunu's process and others, like your General Sibiya, are to be given a fair process to come and present their cases.
He says the forum also pledges support for work done by police in KwaZulu-Natal.
We want to also echo our support for the South African Police Services in KwaZulu-Natal, led by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Continue doing the great work. We've seen strides of great work that has been done.
Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Meanwhile, judicial watchdog Judges Matter says it welcomes the establishment of the Commission of Inquiry to investigate the allegations of corruption within the criminal justice system. In his explosive announcement, Mkhwanazi also claimed that the judiciary in Gauteng had a hand in the alleged corruption, but he has not filed a complaint with the Judicial Service Commission and the Magistrates Commission to probe the claims. Chief Justice Mandisa Maya says the allegations must be backed by evidence. Judges Matters Mcebisi Benjamin says they hope the Commission of Inquiry will prioritize the allegations against the judiciary.
This will go a long way in removing the cloud of suspicion that has no doubt been created by Mkhwanazi's statement and will either allow those implicated to be dealt with or the allegations to be dismissed for lack of substantiation.
As the National Assembly heads into the final debates on budget allocations, President Cyril Ramaphosa can expect a grilling this week. Today, National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza will present the budget for an institution facing a 2 billion rand rebuild after a fire more than 3 years ago razed its chamber building. But it will be the final budget debate tomorrow on the presidency that will be most keenly watched, with political parties still having failed to achieve their goal of a dedicated parliamentary committee to keep a watch over the president. Lindsay Dentlinka reports.
Today, Minister in the Presidency, Komputso Ntshavheni, will deliver the budget on the State Security Agency, which falls under the Presidency, while the National Treasury manages the budget. Ntshavheni has already come under fire from Action SA for refusing to publicly disclose her travel expenditure to Parliament. President Cyril Ramaphosa will come face to face with his detractors to motivate the expenditure of his presidency, an occasion which has in the past turned chaotic and even violent. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Meta's founder Mark Zuckerberg says the social media giant will spend hundreds of billions of dollars on building huge AI data centers in the US. The first multi-gigawatt data center is expected to come online next year, and Zuckerberg says one of the sites would cover an area nearly the size of Manhattan, which is about 59 square kilometers. Meta has invested heavily in efforts to develop what it called superintelligence technology that it said could outthink the smartest humans. The company, which has made most of its money from online advertising, generated more than $160 billion in revenue last year. Gold is trading at $3,343.59 an ounce. The rand is at 17.90 to the dollar, 24.04 to the pound, 20.89 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.93 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we still have got that major accident scene in a Parkmore along Republic Road right at Winnie Mandela Drive. It's causing massive queues. Please be on the lookout there while traveling on the N3 North, queuing traffic between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 19 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: civil society groups in parts of Durban will today march to the SAPS provincial headquarters in support of KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk for something greater in the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Get your tickets now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Bonjour. Dimashero neabodzi. Sanbonani. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's wonderful to have you with us here on 702 as part of the 702 family. We always love being in your company. I hope you are well this morning. All the best with all of the plans you have today. We start with the 702 open line as always on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. How amazing was Banyana against Mali last night? Huh? They cruised 4-0 into the quarterfinals to seal the top spot in their Women's Africa Cup of Nations group. So we can safely say, that they're on track to defend the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations title. What a stunning victory last night. Did you watch it? How proud are you of Banyana? Remember, we actually broadcast the Clement Manyathela Show from OR Tambo International Airport the last time they won the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. This was like back in 2022. That's like 3 years ago. My goodness, time flies. Well, I have a feeling we may be back at OR Tambo International Airport to welcome them as champions again. How impressed are you about their performance? Give us a call. Here's another question. Where is Mcebisi Jonas? Where is Mcebisi Jonas, President Cyril Ramaphosa's U.S. envoy? I don't think we've been told anything about his recent efforts in the U.S. Remember, he wasn't even part of the delegation when President Cyril Ramaphosa was in the Oval Office meeting with President Trump. He was appointed as South Africa's special envoy to the United States, tasked with promoting a healthy working relationship between South Africa and the U.S. after tensions really soured and soared between the two nations. But what has he actually done so far? Because the information I have is that not so much. In fact, we haven't seen him start the work or travel to the US to meet with counterparts or some in the Trump administration, unless, of course, things have been kept under wraps. But I highly doubt it. And please correct me if you have any other information that contradicts what I say. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I don't think he has made any headway. I don't think he has been well received in the US. I think he has been given the cold shoulder, much like what happened with Ibrahim Rasool, the former ambassador. Remember the reemergence of his past remarks about President Donald Trump. Mcebisi Jonas, that is. Back in 2020, he made anti-Trump utterances referring to the current US president as a racist and a homophobe. The presidency at the time said, we don't think that Jonas's remarks will get him into trouble with Washington. But when I was in Washington, D.C., and I was meeting with some Republicans there, I got a completely different story. And I put that information to Vincent Magwenya when we were in the US. In fact, we were right at the White House, just outside the Oval Office, ahead of Ramaphosa's meeting with Trump, when I did a crossing with my colleague John Pellman on his show, and I brought Vincent into that interview to try and clarify what's happening with Jonas. Remember that?
I've got Vincent Magwenya here to come through because remember what I was telling you earlier about the delegation. So I just want to quickly ask him why we don't have Mcebisi Jonas here, Vincent Magwenya. Thank you so much for being here with us. He is the presidential envoy. He is not here. What's going on?
No, his role is a backroom role, number one. Number two, he's been involved in the preparations leading up to today. So his absence has no consequence to this meeting.
Yeah.
And he will continue with other engagements following this meeting.
My from what I understand, Vincent, is that the Americans are not happy with him about what he had said. And there were issues with giving him access or even giving him a visa to come to America.
I'm not aware of visa issues. I am aware that there was some displeasure that were expressed. And we think issues after today.
Yeah.
If not, then the president will have to kind of consider his options in that regard. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think the president might as well start considering his other options. But what's crucial in that interview I did with Vincent from the White House is that he says, yes, there are some displeasures that were expressed. He said that there are some displeasures. When I said my sources are telling me that they didn't want him here, he says there are displeasures that have been expressed, but I don't know much about the visas, but there are displeasures that have been expressed, and we're dealing with that, and if that fails, the president might have to consider his options. That's what Vincent said then. Now, the expelled South African ambassador to the US, Ibrahim Rasool, was on this show about a month ago, and I asked him a question about Jonas and his efforts there in the US. Remember what he told us? What do you think of Mcebisi Jonas? He wasn't part of the delegation, by the way, when we went to the Oval Office. And I heard when I was there in D.C. that there were some concerns that were raised about him. I know the presidency released a statement saying, no, there's a reason why he wasn't there. It wasn't because of anything else. But I heard on good authority that there were questions asked to the South African government about Mcebisi Jonas and what he has said before. What are your thoughts? Do you think that's the person who can play an effective role in trying as that envoy in trying to reset these relations?
I think that I have absolute respect for Mcebisi Jonas's credentials and his integrity, and so I supported the idea that he should be the envoy and not be made the ambassador designate, because then he will be kept in limbo and not be able to do the kind of work while he is in limbo. I think that he's going to probably be unpalatable, and I must say that my sources in the U.S. also said that there were severe questions with a suggestion that if he comes, he may not be allowed into the Oval Office. That's what my sources say. I can't verify it, so I'm taking the official version that he was busy in London with prior arrangements. But the fact is, we are in a game where Trump is going to try to choose the South African ambassador for us, and therefore we may have to rely on high-level delegations going to do the business, while the embassy is a holding operation, a flag-flying operation, and a support operation rather than the main interlocutor with the USA.
So we are probably in a game here where the US is going to want to choose even an ambassador for us. Remember, we still don't even have an ambassador appointed to the United States. So that's what Ibrahim Rasool said. So he clearly had the same information I had. He spoke to his own sources. I had mine. The president just last month was asked as well about Mcebisi Jonas and where that work is. This is what he said.
He is still my envoy for, you could call it North America as a whole. And his responsibilities are going to be clarified. because as it is now, he played a very key role in preparing our delegation, working together with various ministers and various officials to get our preparations at the top level to get on very well for us to be able to go and engage with the United States.
But then envoys are not only there to do just the background work. Envoys are supposed to meet with counterparts. They're supposed to set the stage. You don't just do that by being in South Africa and saying, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do when we get to the US, and then you stay here and everybody else goes. Envoys do more than that. So something is brewing, and we're not being told everything. Mark my words. We reached out to the presidency this morning for an interview about this, and the spokesperson told us that they never talk about work of envoys in public. We pressed further and asked if he can confirm if Jonas is still continuing with his responsibilities and if the US have accepted him as an envoy. And he said, and I quote, yes, he's continuing with his responsibilities. Envoys are different from ambassadors who require acceptance of their credentials. Countries don't necessarily need to grant official recognition to envoys. However, they are received officially as representatives of their respective president or head of state when they visit the designated country. So we then went further and asked, has he been received officially? And we're still waiting for a response to that question. So what's going on here? Let me know what you think is at play here. The former ambassador, Ibrahim Rasool, says we're playing a game here where the US will want to choose for us who must be our envoy, who must be our ambassador. And if the US refuses to officially receive Jonas as an envoy, what should we do? I mean, if they give him the cold shoulder, what's the point of having him as an envoy? He's not going to get any work done. Which then brings me back to the question I've asked before. Are we getting closer and closer to the reality that the US wants to choose people for us who must represent this country? Let me know your thoughts. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Or maybe, by the way, maybe we should get one of Trump's favorite golfers and deploy them then as an envoy, an ambassador. Are we getting to a point where we're going to start making such considerations? As a sovereign state? So scary to even consider. Let me tell you what's coming up on the show while you chew on that and give us a call and send us a WhatsApp voice note. And 10 o'clock, we're going to do our monthly feature, The Healing Hour. And today we're healing from infertility. We are going to spend an hour, as we always do, talking about your experiences with infertility. What's been your experience? I mean, this can have an impact on one's sense of self because of society's expectations, the impact of families on relationships. People have been rejected just based on that. The pressure to have biological children. You know, some people have really struggled initially and later had success. And I'd like to hear from you how you've been healing from that, healing from the emotional impact of infertility. Some of you, I know you prefer to send us your stories via email whenever we do the Healing Hour. So you're welcome to send us an email on cm@702.co.za. You may be a woman, you may be a man. How have you healed from that emotional impact of infertility? At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our World of Work feature. Today, we're talking about how to digify your business, how you're integrating your digital skills, the digital skills in your business. And then 11:30, we do our health and wellness feature. And today, we'll be discussing kidney health. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clem's, no, banyana. Yo, I'm blind. I mean, even the goals are beautiful. It was a case that Chiefs does not stand a chance there. I can bet. Chiefs won't beat Banyana. Never.
Are you suggesting that if we put Kaiser Chiefs against Banyana, they'll be beaten flat? I do agree with you, though. I mean, what a brilliant performance last night. 4-0. And now they've secured their spot in the quarterfinals. As I said, we went to OR Tambo to welcome them, dedicated the entire show on just celebrating them as they arrived as champions arrived back home from Morocco, and I have a feeling that we may be back at OR to welcome them back home as champions once again. Huh? What do you think? It's 20 minutes after 9 o'clock.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Hi, Clement. I just wanted to comment on that issue of Mcebisi Jonas. I mean, at the time when he was appointed, a lot of us pointed out the fact that this was not a well thought out move, particularly because Mcebisi Jonas is the chairperson of MTN. MTN does business with Iran and Iran Cell. There's no way that Donald Trump would have accepted somebody like that to come and chat to him. And what experience really does Mcebisi Jonas have in navigating Washington? So all those things need to come into it. I really, really think we need to call it out for what it is. The president just took one of his allies there. He used to also be, with MTN through Shanduka once upon a time. And for me, I really think that this was not well thought out, and he wasn't going to get anywhere.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and 702 listeners. Regarding Mcebisi Jonas, I think the writing was on the wall that it would be a non-starter. Those comments that were made would have came back to haunt him, and Trump and his guys, right-hand men, the Rubio and JD and all those Witkoff, either one of them would have taken offense to the comments, and therefore it wouldn't have been started. Thank you.
Clemmy Moreman, Flores here from the Western Cape. Clemmy, I'm not sure why the presidency is so secretive about this whole ambassador and envoy. And I think what really is going to stand in Jonas's way was the remarks that he made about Trump a couple of months or years ago. So, yeah, they should come out clear to us, man. We as South Africans need to know. We cannot do our work if we don't have a representative in the US. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and my thing is, I don't think we're getting full transparency here from the presidency about Mcebisi Jonas's work. If the president is so satisfied with his work, can they share with us what work has been done so far? And by the way, let's not confuse the questions we're asking about Mcebisi Jonas with his capacity, because I have no issues with Mcebisi Jonas. I think he's very much capable of doing this task, right? I do. But I also think that we cannot, we can't have a government that just wants to keep on insisting on, for instance, oh, this is the person who's doing great work, when the person is being frustrated in the United States. So maybe if government shares with us what Mcebisi Jonas has managed to do without compromising the negotiations, that at least helps us, put us at bay, and we realize, okay, then work is doing. He is meeting with people there. But it doesn't help that we're not seeing any work. Hence the questions we are consistently asking. Where is he? What has he done so far? The information we're receiving is that they are not officially receiving him there. The information is he's getting the cold shoulder, just like Ibrahim Rasool did. When is government going to realize that? Because time is running out. I mean, 30%. We've been slapped with a 30% tariff. The work of an envoy would be to start the negotiations or start setting the stage for South African government to start having conversations with the United States, the Trump administration officials. So if really the US doesn't want to work with Mcebisi Jonas, then keeping him there, how is that going to assist us? Maybe our government just needs to be honest. I don't know when they're going to be honest and say, ooh, we're facing frustrations there. Let's rather look at somebody else. Or let's then appoint an ambassador and obviously pray and hope that Donald Trump and his officials there are going to be happy with whoever we appoint, because credentials must still be sent. They must accept those. And I wonder if we would have the, what's the word to use without using the other word? We would have the gall to reject the credentials of America's preferred ambassador to South Africa. Would we? Trump would hold a briefing the next day and probably announce 80% tariffs, because that's how it works there. In fact, not even a briefing. He would go post on social media. Oh, we're in trouble. I don't know what we do, because even with an ambassador, what do we do? Do you get one of the golfers that Trump likes and say, go be an ambassador there? Because if you're going to get anyone from the ANC, even though they may be Afrikaans, they may be white, the Trump administration, I bet you they will find something wrong with that person.
The scarier thought for me is that Mcebisi Jonas hasn't been to the US yet in the time that he's been appointed as special envoy. And the even scarier thought is that Ramaphosa hasn't sent a delegation to negotiate a deal with Trump. But we've got no news on this. We've got no clarification on this. As far as I know, Ramaphosa thinks the relationship has been reset since their visits in the US and the whole Oval Office incident, but I doubt it's been reset. And we've got no news on this. All we know is that, hey, we are facing higher tariffs. And I doubt that we had any team going to negotiate. Eugene Rustenburg.
I guess we just have to accept the current crisis, the US-South Africa relations that are just terrible, and we just have to accept that it's Trump's time to dance. So we just have to wait until the Dems are back, if they're going to come back, or if the Republicans, they feel someone who understands diplomatic relations, especially international relationship. So let's hope that, because I don't even think those 49 Afrikaners that went to US can even appease Trump, because it seems like he has just forgotten about them. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the media complaining about the treatment in US. It would be interesting for that one. But as you can see, the Trump relationship with other international people globally is just terrible. So we just have to wait for the next 3.5 years until the Democrats are back or the Republicans feel someone who understands diplomacy. Sfiso.
Yeah, Sfiso. In fact, there were reports of some of the refugees, African refugees, complaining. Apparently, some of them were placed in hotels. I do remember seeing a video done by a South African woman in the US who says they've received calls for some assistance. I don't know if any of you have seen that. But Swiso is talking about complaints, and I think there have been some, and maybe not everybody is affected, all the refugees, but there have been some were placed in hotels and with no clarity of what's next. Some didn't even have food. I don't know if you've seen that video. If you've seen something else in as far as their settlement and them having been given proper plan as to what happens next, please let me know so we can clarify that. But that's the last video I saw. So yeah, what do we do? What do we do? Like right now, the fact that we still don't know what Mcebisi Jonas has been able to achieve. I mean, I would be shocked that he has not even been to America yet. I mean, that would be crazy. Huh? Already it was wild, the fact that he was not there when President Cyril Ramaphosa had the most important meeting ever. And we were told, oh, he's stuck in meetings. Yeah, please.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Okay, I'll take more of your calls and WhatsApps on that. Just a quick reminder about the national dialogue that we're going to be hosting here as Prime Media. So I need you to send us an email if you want to be part of that on contact@702.co.za. So we're going to do the People's Dialogue ahead of the national dialogue. So what are the issues you think we need to be discussing, and do you want to attend? We want to be as representative as possible. So if you know a constituency anywhere around and you want to come through to be part of the People's Dialogue, we've already received lots of emails from people who want to participate, and we're going to be contacting you guys about the details. We'll announce more details as we go along. I just want to let you know now in advance, because there's going to be a time when we start now closing the door, because then we can't accommodate like everybody. So if you want to be part of the People's Dialogue, or you want to suggest to us what are the key, most important issues that should be discussed at the People's Dialogue that we're going to be hosting here at Prime Media House ahead of the national dialogue, send us an email on contact@702.co.za. Give us your name, your contact details, and also if you want to suggest issues, do so, and then our team here at 702 will get in touch with you. It's 9:31. Let's get the latest in eyewitness news headlines. Swiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Rand Water has started with repairs to a pipeline that will result in reduced supply in parts of Gauteng. This forms part of the entity's marathon maintenance project set to wrap up at the end of this month. The repair work is aimed at replacing temporary fixes that were done on the pipeline in the past with permanent solutions. Civil society groups in parts of Durban will today march to the SAPS provincial headquarters in support of KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations about a criminal syndicate which has infiltrated the law enforcement system, including the police and judiciary. And China's economy has expanded more than 5% in the second quarter of the year. The figures offer a rare bit of good news for the country's leadership as it fights a multi-front battle to kickstart growth, a challenge made all more difficult by Donald Trump's tariff war. And those are the headlines this EWN, and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the M1 South, we've got heavy traffic volumes between the Baklu interchange and the Marlborough Drive exit. This is due to roadworks taking place along this route, while in the northerly direction, we've got an accident near Marlborough Drive. It's causing delays coming out of Grayston Drive. While traveling in Parkmore, we still have got that major accident scene along Winnie Mandela Drive and Republic Road, causing about a 20-minute hold-up altogether between these two routes. Please try to avoid that one. And if you are leaving Alberton, we've got some delays on the R59 North between Swartkoppies Road and the Reading interchange due to roadworks taking place along this route, as well as an accident right near the interchange. Traveling on the Mike 1 North, some issues between Boyson's Road and the Crown interchange. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. We'll have more of your updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
9:33. This is the 702 open line. We're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. I've been asking about Mcebisi Jonas, and I've been also asking you about what we should be doing next. I mean, is there even anything? Is it even anything we can do as South Africa to satisfy the US? I mean, I see some of you are saying Derek Hanekom could possibly be the person that we put up as an ambassador. Oh, someone says, hey, Clement, why don't we send Helen Ziller? She's sharp, she's very diplomatic. The thing is, I mean, the ANC is also trying to manage the political dynamics here. I don't see the ANC sending anyone there that they don't trust. I mean, you don't want anybody who's going to get to the US and all they do is also decampaign the African National Congress, right? You want someone who doesn't have politics at the forefront when they do this work of ambassador in the US. You want someone who's going to think about the interests of this country, whether they're coming from the ANC or they're coming from the DA or they're coming from any party, or they were part of the National Party, whatever it is. You still want them to push the interests of this country and not so much the interest of their political party. So that's quite important as well. Here's something else that I want to get your thoughts on. So we were talking with producers last week about these dogs that have mauled this toddler. And my goodness, this toddler died as a result, and the community was complaining that the dogs that killed her were often not put on a leash. So the owner understood, because there have been cases before when someone else in the community was injured by the same dogs, and then the owner still didn't do much. And I want to ask you, how do you deal with your dogs, especially when you are walking them? Right? Do you put your dogs on a leash? I think the general rule is that the dogs must be on a leash, but let's be honest. Sometimes you're walking your dog and you want to allow it to just move around and be free. and you think I'm still in control. And I've picked it up when I run, mostly in the afternoons, where people think, our dogs behave, and you don't put them on a leash because you think you're going to quickly be able to respond should the other dogs attack the dog or the dog runs towards other people. But often when I go running, I see dogs coming towards me and they want to, I don't know, they want to lick you, they want to do whatever. But the reality is not everybody appreciates that. Not everybody is comfortable with dogs coming over and playing with them. Some people are terrified. They are scared of dogs. I've been that person before. And I used to hate it when dogs used to come and want to play with me, because that used to terrify me. Not because I hate them, but because I just was scared of them. So, do you put your dogs on a leash? And when you see someone who hasn't put dogs on a leash, no matter how small they are, what do you do? And I know some people feel like when you put a dog on a leash, it's a bit abusive. But what makes you a responsible dog owner? Huh? And I wonder what punishment should actually face reckless dog owners. And I'm not just talking here about dangerous dog breeds, right? Because obviously we are now talking about different precautions that you need to take. But I'm just talking generally. When you own a dog, do you put that on a leash when you're walking it? I do sometimes feel sorry for Ossie when I take him on a walk and I put him on a leash. Sometimes I feel, he wants to wander around. But I also think if there's Umama coming from work who's walking down the street, and then Ossie wants to go run towards her and she's scared of dogs, it's already too late. That person is already traumatized if I think I'm going to be running there if he's not on a leash and I'm going to remove him from this individual. You've already traumatized someone. How do you deal with that? So how do you navigate walking your dog, even around other dogs? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
I was surprised to learn that only 25% of our ICU nurses are trained in critical care.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit surprised. Presentation is spot on, it's correct, due to what is happening now and what we are observing as well ourselves in hospitals.
What are yours then, Gwena, and why do you have such a low percentage of nurses trained in critical care?
The exposure during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we realized that the country is actually not ready for a number of things.
Gwena Manamela, General Secretary of Danos.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult at 3,469. Just had a fantastic 2-hour meeting. It was so productive that we accomplished nearly as much as I could have done with one well-written email.
Hating the corporate 9 to 5? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's easy and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Rise to the challenge in Betway's Climb and Conquer with 50 million Rand in prizes to be won, including 8 brand new cars. Climb our leaderboards until 27 July with bets on sports, slots, table, crash games, and more. Make the weekly top 10 at any point for a chance to drive away in a VW Polo, Toyota Hilux double cab, or high ace. Plus, weekly leaderboard winners will earn a guaranteed 100,000 Rand cash. Only at Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to participate. For gambling counseling, call SARGF on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp 076 675 0710.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers 2 options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
The time to honor our past and step into a shared future as a team is here. Corporate and team entries for this year's 702 Walk the Talk are still open. Gather your colleagues together on Sunday, the 27th of July, to walk through the historic Freedom Park Heritage Site, past the national landmarks and finish at the Union Buildings. For corporate entries, visit primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park Heritage Site in the city of Tshwane, where footsteps become footprints.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
20 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, Clemza and team. Clemza, on the issue of dogs, I love dogs. I think they're cute, but I don't want them jumping on me, especially if it's a stranger's dog. No. So it only makes sense that when you're taking your dog for a walk, keep it on a leash, because you might find joggers on the road and your dog starts chasing them. I just can't. The fear that comes over me when a dog just jumps or chases me, and then you'll find an owner saying, no, it doesn't bite. No, it's a friendly dog. It's friendly to you. But just realize that some of us are just fearful, guys. Let's all just be considerate. Thank you, Clems.
Morning, Clement. For me, I just feel like if you are walking a dog and there are these big dogs that people usually just like to let them run around, and I'm thinking, guys, if you know that you're walking a dog, please don't just put it in a leash, because a dog is a dog. It may change its mind and bite you, and you must bear the consequences. Don't go around fighting. So if you're walking a dog, make sure that when you see that you're around people, make sure that you put it on a leash. Don't say my dog is friendly. It's a dog.
Yeah. I honestly, let's be honest, right? I do think that there are some dog owners that just don't understand that there are other people that are terrified of dogs. I have met many dog owners who are trying to force you to love dogs, which is unfair. Like, I could have any other pet, and if you don't like cats, I'm not going to force you to love cats. But I do think that most dog owners I have come across are so inconsiderate. And I'm using myself as an example because I used to be terrified of dogs. And as I've said before, I grew up in a village where dogs were actually not companions as I know them to be now. Dogs were used to protect the home. You put them in the house, you lock the door, release them from their little house. They roam the yard and bark at anybody who tries to enter. That's the relationship I had with dogs where I grew up. So much later, when I come to Pretoria, I come to Joburg, I have friends now who have dogs, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what's that? And then the dogs are in the house, they're on the couch, and then when you go to visit them, the dogs are busy licking you all around. I don't want that. It's okay, guys. Right? It's okay that I don't want to have your dog lick me. It's okay that I don't want your dog in my house. And I just find that most dog owners were so inconsiderate. They see you as if you are inhumane, or you or you are just rude. No, there are people who just don't like dogs as pets, and they don't appreciate them in the way you do, and we need to respect that. So equally so, when you are walking your dogs, understand that there are other people who don't want your dog to be coming through and playing with them. And that's okay. There will be other people that your dog will run over them. They don't have an issue with them. They will play with them. They will hold them. It's going to be kumbaya. But that's not always going to be the case. And I think there are many, many, many dog owners who are inconsiderate. They expect you to just love their dog and find it cute and be okay with it licking you all over or wanting to play with you without understanding your own trauma or your own approach to dogs. And I hope we can be more considerate, Jay, as dog owners.
And 72 lenders, your dog is your dog. Anything that it does to any other person, a yard, it goes and poop in other people's front page. You take responsibility for your dog. It's your dog. It bites somebody else, you're gonna be held accountable and responsible. Like your dog for yourself, not for the rest of us. Keep your dog and your pets to yourselves. Thank you.
Good morning, Clement. It's Tuso here. This issue of dogs, Clement, is really needs to be treated like an emergency. Because now we have people like in the suburbs where people like you find a person is reversing their car, they're coming out of their yard. Fair and fine, it's okay. And they've got these vicious dogs that they know. You are the only one in that car. You are reversing your car out. No one is guarding those dogs. I'm running or walking, only to be attacked by those dogs. I don't know why people tend to do that. That thing of being free that much to the extent of saying you don't think of another person, you think of yourself. I think it needs to be looked at. It's a serious issue, and a lot of people are going to be either harmed by dogs or killed by dogs if this thing does not get attended to. Thank you, Clement.
Hi, Clement. I usually also hate it when I walk to the park and then you have dogs coming to smell your feet or anything. I'm not terrified of dogs. I love dogs, I love pets, but not just anybody's pet coming to me or touching anybody's pet. The one thing that they always say, the white people always say, they say, no, don't worry, don't bite. It doesn't bite. It's a very friendly dog. You know, this other colleague of mine had a very friendly dog which bit his nose off. The dog that they had since he was 6 years old bit his nose off at the time he was around 19 years old. You know, that was a dog that they regarded as a friendly dog as well.
Clement, regarding people walking dogs, it's a disaster. I take my kids to Retondale Park in Pretoria every Friday and Sunday for their cross motor skills growth. Everyone obviously comes, dog lovers, dog walkers, and people are walking their dogs. However, there's a massive problem. There's one individual at that park who, whenever he sees me with my 3 little boys, he will release his dog and he will throw this round thing in our direction, and the dog will come running for that thing and it will just pounce on my kids, and he will just tell us, don't run, the dog is just playing. But it's a massive dog, and now my children hate dogs and they are terrified and they are traumatized.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want to limit this only to these big, scary pit bulls. Just generally, there are people that don't see your dog as little cute Tezzy, or whatever the name is. My dog's name is Aussie, and yes, he's cute. But I recognize that not everybody is going to find them cute. I recognize that not everybody is going to be comfortable walking into the house and the dog is there. So let's just be considerate as dog owners and stop expecting people to think of dogs as everybody to think of dogs as cute little things. We are not the same. And I've been there where I didn't even want to see, I don't want to be touched by a dog. In fact, walking in or seeing a dog come, I would normally just turn. If we are on the road and we're going opposite ways, I turn around. That's how terrified I was of dogs growing up. Derek, you're calling us from Centurion. Hi.
Bro.
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Sure, man. For me, my dogs, when I walk them around, put them on the leashes. But what I did, I put the big fence around my one of the small houses, and then I've got like big walls around my yard. So most of the time, they don't even know people from outside. So what I do during the day, I keep them in the cage, like it's a big cage. I've got 3 of these pit bulls. So what I do at night, I just open the cage. They can just up and run around. But I mean, what I realized as well, one of them was actually jumping over a 1.8 meters high wall.
Oh my goodness!
I put up a fence of about 500, 600 high on top of that wall, so that it doesn't really jump over. Because I realized in the morning when I woke up, the one dog was not even around, and I called the name. He will come running, jumping that wall as if
Yeah.
just jumping like a 1 meter thing,
Yeah.
So, but basically, I put up the cage. But one thing for me as well with the dogs, I really don't love dogs. I mean, they're good security. In my case, like I'm not home most of the time, and I mean, there's nobody in my house. I know I've got those 3 friendly dogs there, friendly for me, and I know nobody will take chance to come over or do anything. I mean, it's been like this for almost 2-3 years now. I've got nobody jumping or coming into my yard. Even my gate, I've done a sealed gate. Like if you walk outside, you see nothing inside my yard. And my dogs don't know anybody. They just know me, my family, my children, wife, and few people. But other than that, friends, anybody else, nobody comes to my house.
What do
And
you
I
do when
enjoy-
you've
I
got
enjoy it.
visitors, Derek?
No, during the day they're in the cages at the back, so nobody goes at the back.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
if you visit me, you sit in the house, sitting room, whatever, you do whatever you do. Later you go. But at night, like 6 o'clock or 6, I lock my gates. I'll let them loose in the yard. So anyone else who has any luck of theirs or anything, then I know they will meet these dogs, and it's not going to be nice. But
All right. Yeah. Got you. Derek in Centurion, thank you for your thoughts. Barbara, you're in Centin. Good
Hi.
morning.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just saying about walking dogs and dogs on leads, and what concerns me, especially in Gallimana, is that there are these ferocious dogs behind the gates, and they bark and bark and bark. It's horrific because I'm just scared someone in the house will push the gate. They'll kill my dogs, and I'm not saying my dogs, they do bark because it's horrific. The dogs, and then they cross the road. They've got 3 dogs all pushing the gates. Now, I walk my dogs for a bit of peace and quiet, and I'm not saying you can't have dogs. My dogs do bark. They're dogs. But I don't know what you do, because I actually scared to take my dogs out because I just don't know if someone's got the gate open. And, I walk around my complex. I'm just too scared to go out the gate. It's not comfortable. I mean, you live in a suburb and you want to walk around, look at the houses, and I can't. It's very worrying, and I just wonder if the pet owners could just look out the window and see what their dogs are doing. They're home. Yeah. They can see their home.
Oh.
Just to see what their dog's doing.
Yeah, because
Especially
it gets
some German
scary.
shepherds. It's horrific. It's horrific. I've got to pick up my dogs and try or get them on the other side of the pavement, and they are scared and they are barking. So it's a very unhappy walk.
Yeah,
And
true.
I've stopped. My
Yeah.
husband walks them because I just can't handle it.
No, I agree with you, Barbara. Even running again, or when I'm taking a walk, but mostly running, it's so unpleasant because the barking is actually quite scary. Sometimes I think, some of the walls are not even high enough, and I wonder if the dogs are not going to be able to jump out. It really, really is scary.
Hi, Clement. I don't have a problem with dogs. I grew up with dogs all my life. However, I do believe that dog owners need to stop enforcing their love of dogs to the general public. When they're at home in their private properties, they can do what they want, let their dogs run around as much as they want. But when you're in public, you need to be considerate of the fact that there are other people out there, and there are other people who have just as much rights as the rights that you are trying to give to your dog. This is Ted.
Hey, morning, Clems. I think people forget one thing, that dogs will always be dogs. It can be free and all that. Yeah, it won't bite you for 5 years or so, but it will change. One day it will change. So this thing of saying, my dog is so free, it doesn't bite, it doesn't work. People just need to keep their dogs on the leash all the times, because you'll never know which side of the bed, if the dogs have a bed, which side of the bed did the dog wake up that day. So stop saying my dog is free and then all that. No, come on, guys. Keep your dog on the leash all the time. Thank you. Great show as always, Clams.
Hi, Clement. This is Caroline calling from Santon. So, firstly, I just want to say I'm calling as a dog owner myself, and I'm shocked to hear how so many people are calling, but nobody's talking about training dogs. And this is something that I think is missing in a lot of pet owners, that they don't take the time to train their dogs. Now, I'm not saying that if you train your dog 100% of the time, it's 100% going to listen to everything you say to the T, but I am saying that too many dog owners are irresponsible and don't take the time to do behavioral training with their dogs, and this results in a lot of behavioral problems in the dogs. And I absolutely agree with what most of the callers are saying. I myself, like I say, I'm a dog owner and I love my dog, but I also don't want some stranger's dog coming and interacting with me uninvited, because I understand that it can be uncomfortable, and I agree that too many dog owners are irresponsible in their management of dogs in public places. But more than that, Clement, I'm curious to know how you got over your dog phobia.
So I've got a few friends who've got dogs. I've got a friend who used to, whenever I go to her house, I would interact with these dogs, and then she would bring them to my house. And I mean, it got to a point where at some point I would ban the dogs from my house. And then I started now allowing her to bring the dogs, but they must be in the garden. I don't want them in the house. So it started slowly and slowly like that. And yeah, the next thing is I could hold the dog. In fact, there are videos where I couldn't even hold the dog because every time it tries to lick me, I would be so terrified. So I would now they would give me the dog and I'll hold it for a few seconds and put it down. So it's been such a slow process. I bet you my entire immediate family is shocked at the fact that I've got a dog now. And if I tell you, from just getting the dog and from saying it will never be, remember I've told you guys before that I don't want a dog in my bedroom. Well, guess what? Ossie has been sleeping in my bedroom the whole week, since last week. But he'll never get on the bed. I still insist. I don't want a dog on a bed or on top of a couch. That is not happening. But that just tells you how slowly you start moving towards just understanding things differently. And I'm loving Ossie like I do. He sleeps in the bedroom now. Well, he'll be there on the floor, but he'll never get on the bed. And I hope I will never come to you one day and say, oh, guess what? He's now getting into bed with me. I find that to be crazy. I'm never doing that. But yeah, that's how I got over it. Slowly, one step at a time. It's 2 minutes before 10.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, this is Craig from Kempton Park. What an amazing experience, I must say, especially visiting, people behind the scenes. There's a lot of amazing people that we don't know about behind the scenes that's working very hard to serve you, the listener. Very, very impressed with everything that's going on. Fantastic studios, very professional setup, trendy, vibey. It epitomizes everything that this radio station does, and definitely it is the radio station for the people.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Play for the win with the Powerball jackpot estimated at 71 million rand this Tuesday. That's right, it only takes 6 lucky numbers for your chance to make your dreams become a reality. Don't get left behind. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za and mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
If you want to know about the heart and art of jazz, look no further than the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, a grand ensemble of over 50 world-class acts across 4 stages for 3 whole days. That's right, from the 26th, 27th and 28th of September. The Sandton Convention Center will be demure and sophisticated as the fine Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 takes you deep into the heart, the art and splendor of jazz. Take me there. Book your seat via Ticketmaster now.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Clearly moving to sort of Chinese-made, produced cars is going to be one of them, and some of that might still happen here.
To answer your question, yes, we are likely to see a growth of that because we continue to strengthen that value proposition. Also looking at, we want to ensure that we grow our manufacturing base, our production base, so that we remain competitive as well.
Dr. Paulina Mamakgobo, Chief Economist at NAMSA.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Bank, a leading Pan-African bank and proud sponsor of the African Blockchain Report 2024. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Mpumalanga Premier Mandla Ndlovu has reshuffled his cabinet in the province. Education MEC Kathy Dlamini is one of the executive members who've been removed. Ndlovu says the position will now be filled by Lindy Masina. Earlier this year, the Provincial Education Department was embroiled in scandal involving the purchasing of 22 laptops at a price tag of 2 million rand for staff. While the department confirmed the purchases, it said MEC Dlamini was not involved in the procurement process. The department says the devices were meant for its management information systems and information and communication technology teams. Premier Ndlovu says the decision to reshuffle his cabinet was not influenced by the opposition.
If the premier is captured by the opposition, then they will not capture the ANC officials in the province. Before, you must go and make a presentation and must give reasons. You must prepare. Face this comrade and tell them the reason why do you want to reshuffle. After, you must meet with the alliance. So they will not allow you.
Rainwater has started with repairs to a pipeline that will result in reduced supply in parts of Gauteng. This forms part of the entity's marathon maintenance project set to wrap up at the end of this month. The repair work is aimed at replacing temporary fixes that were done previously with permanent solutions. It will affect supply within the Palmeet system, which means residents from Johannesburg, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni and Madibeng will be affected. Spokesperson Makino Simaru.
And we are repairing leaks on the O2 pipeline. The work started today at 5 a.m. and will be completed on the 18th of July. The system that will be impacted is the Palmeet system. This means there will be reduced pumping at the Palmeet system. Pumping will be reduced at 67%.
Some civil society groups in parts of Durban will today march to the SAPS provincial headquarters in support of KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations about a criminal syndicate which has allegedly infiltrated the law enforcement system, including the police and judiciary. The Community Policing Forum in KwaZulu-Natal, meanwhile, has praised the establishment of a commission of inquiry into the shocking allegations involving Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and National Deputy Commissioner Shadrack Sibia. The forum says despite skepticism by some, it has confidence that this process will yield desired results. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more from KZN.
The Community Policing Forum, responsible for helping police fight crime in communities, says a commission of inquiry is the only fair process to probe the claims made by Provincial Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The forum says it's only the inquiry where all parties will be able to present their side of the story. Its Provincial Secretary, Sianda Biela.
They want to ensure that every process and every stone is turned before a decision is made. So Minister Mchunu's process and others, like your General Sibia, are to be given a fair process to come and present their cases.
He says the forum also pledges support for work done by police in KwaZulu-Natal.
We want to also echo our support for the South African Police Services in KwaZulu-Natal, led by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Continue doing the great work. We've seen strides of great work that has been done.
Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And China's economy has expanded by more than 5% in the second quarter of the year. The figures offer a rare bit of good news for the country's leadership as it fights a multi-front battle to kickstart growth, which is a challenge made all more difficult by Donald Trump's tariff war. But analysts warn the knock-on effects of the trade turmoil abroad and persistent sluggish consumption mean the economy could slump in the second half of the year. Trump imposed tolls on China and most other major trading partners since returning to office earlier this year, threatening Beijing's exports just as it becomes more reliant on them to stimulate economic activity. Gold is trading at $3,364.22 an ounce. The rand is at 17.79 to the dollar, 23.92 to the pound, 20.89 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.77 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident on the N1 South heading towards Midrand. It happened near Olifantsfontein Road. It is causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of the Brakfontein interchange. Please be on the lookout there while traveling in Mayorsdal. Another accident reported on the R59 North. This one is right near the Reading interchange. Delays from Swartkoppies Road.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 19 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Mpumalanga Premier Mandla Ndlovu has reshuffled his cabinet.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
What are the matters that matter to you?
702 listens
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And thank you for your contribution on the 702 open line this morning. Apparently, there are some people suggesting that, when you own a dog and your love for the dog just grows exponentially as time goes. So there are already a few people that have sent messages on Twitter and on the WhatsApp line saying, well, wait until Aussie jumps on your bed and you're not going to do anything about it. Jerome also says, Clement, never say never. I give you a few months and trust me, when I come back and tell us Aussie now gets on the bed. I mean, guys, I'm making this promise to myself. I am not letting the dog on my bed. I'm not letting the dog on the couch. I think that's very important. But something else I want some of the dog owners to teach is, how do you guys discipline dogs? Like, is there a thing as like spanking a dog? Or is that also like you're abusing its rights? I mean, I'm new into this, right? But sometimes I do get irritated by Ossie's behavior and he doesn't listen, and I just never know how to discipline him. Like, what do you do? Because I don't think it works to just give them their treats just so you teach them good behavior. You also need to teach them bad behavior has consequences. Yeah? Maybe you guys can teach us that. How about that? Maybe we should do something around that maybe sometime and help others if they're facing the same challenges. I would like to know how you discipline dogs. Because, wow, that little one lately is getting out of control. It's 9 minutes after 10.
702
Healing Hour.
All right, it's that time again where we dedicate an hour to have a conversation among ourselves as the 702 family. We call this feature the Healing Hour, and we do it once every month. And once again, I want to thank you for the feedback that you give us about the healing hour. I want to thank you for the suggestions that you have made to us on what to heal from, and your testimonies of how you have been impacted by this feature. You know, people have shared their stories. They've shared how they've been given hope through listening to this feature, how they've been encouraged. They have gotten the strength to begin their own journey of healing. And as always, when we start the Healing Hour feature, I want to remind you that this is a safe space to share our pain, a safe space to share our stories of survival, our experiences as friends, as a family, as a community with no judgment. And today, we're healing from dealing with an infertility. We're healing from the emotional impact of infertility. Have you dealt with that? What's been your experience? I mean, this can have an impact on one's sense of self because of society's expectations, because of the impact that it has on families, on relationships. I mean, people have been rejected just because they're unable to naturally bear children. And society sometimes puts pressure, even families, puts pressure on us to have biological children. And that's why it really becomes a lot when you are not bearing any biological children. And you can sense the attitude that shifts, even from the people that are your loved ones. I mean, some people have struggled initially with infertility and later they had success. And the issue is the other options are expensive, and not all of us have the financial resources to consider other options to have children. I mean, I have told a story of a family member who can conceive, and I've seen how painful that has been. But I've also seen how incredible her and her husband have been in supporting one another. And I want you to share with us how you've been affected by that emotional impact of infertility. How did it affect your relationship? How did it affect your marriage? How was the support from your loved ones? Did you get any? And I know in South Africa and around the world, infertility remains shrouded in silence and stigma and misinformation, but we have to talk about it. People are silently in pain. And we're not just talking about women when we discuss infertility. I think it's important to note that infertility is not just a woman's issue. I mean, the male fertility factors, in fact, account for about 40% of cases. Yet, they often remain overlooked. I mean, if you are in any relationship or in any marriage and you've been trying to have a baby, it's normally the women who are told or who take the initiative to go get checked out. But it could be you as the man. And maybe you're aware of the infertility challenges that you have. How have you dealt with that? You can start calling us now on 011-883-0702 to share your experience with us. Maybe this has strengthened you. Maybe dealing with infertility has challenged you to perhaps adopt a child, and that has been the best thing that's ever happened to you. Maybe you want to share with us of the difficulties that dealing with infertility has brought to perhaps your relationship or to your marriage. Did it break your relationship? Did it break your marriage? If you prefer to send us a WhatsApp voice note, you can do that on 072-702-1702. And maybe you are the partner to someone who can't conceive. How has that affected you guys? How have you supported them? I mean, infertility can be one of the most difficult challenges a couple can face together, not only because of the inability to get pregnant, but also the emotional stress that it puts on a relationship. Other couples often try to go for treatment or explore other options, and that can place a strain on finances, on intimacy, and plans for the future. Sometimes that strain even ends ruining a relationship. How are you healing from that emotional impact? of infertility. 011-883-0702. We're taking your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Let's talk. It's 15 minutes after 10.
Celebrate the horse racing season of champions with Hollywood bets and saddle up for sensational success. Stand a chance to win a spectacular share of over 2 million rand in prizes, including a brand new Amoda C5 or C7. All you have to do is bet 50 rand or more on any horse racing event for a shot at your crowning moment. Take the reins and get ready to gallop to grand rewards. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Ready to insure your business with an insurer that means business? Well, Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for butcheries, convenience stores, restaurants, pharmacies, and more. Over 100,000 businesses across various industries trust them. So switch to Business Outsurance today, and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
Hey, honey, look. Went to the shops, like you asked, and it was the Deco Fern birthday sale. Picked up this amazing 3-seater sofa for only $5,599. And this coffee table, just $489. And this gorgeous standing mirror for like $699.
Wow, I just asked you to get some milk.
Get deals worth celebrating at Deco Furniture's epic birthday sale with 10 to 40% and more off everything in-store or online now at decofurnsa.co.za.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union Buildings. Choose the 8-kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4-kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
702
Healing Hour.
18 minutes after 10 o'clock. This is our monthly feature, The Healing Hour. We do this once every month where we heal from something. And today we're healing from the emotional impact of infertility. So we're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. You can send a WhatsApp to share your story with us on 072-702-1702. You're welcome to send us an email as well on cm@702.co.za. How have you been impacted by dealing with infertility? How has it affected your relationship? Maybe it strengthened it. Maybe it's really affected it negatively. Maybe the relationship broke down because of that. I would like you to share your experiences with us as we really try to heal as a man, as a woman, as a partner, as a family member of someone who may be affected. Thabo, you are calling us from Krugersdorp. Good morning.
Hey, Clement, how are you?
I'm all right, Tibas. How are you doing?
Okay, thanks. I was just talking to your previous that your topic this morning just hit home with me,
Yeah.
In my case, we were married for 30 years.
Mm.
And, in the first years of our marriage, it was like a bit difficult because we were so desperate,
Mm.
And then until as years went by, that the hope started fading away, And then the resolution was like, let us just learn to live with it and then accept the situation. But from families and everybody in my surroundings and her surroundings, we did not have that pressure, from families and all those people. And we were accepted by our surrounded community. And we learned to live with it and accept it. Well, at least from my side, I thought we have both accepted it, but only to realize that later in our marriage that it was not necessarily acceptable on her side, because signs of depression started showing from her side, and it gradually developed into mental problem,
Yeah.
And then she, it started like we started having unnecessary arguments, and it was much later in our marriage, and the rest of my marriage was a very happy marriage despite not having kids. But then she recently started, being argumentative and starting accusing me of things that I hardly knew about, like having extramarital affairs. And then I was like wondering what is happening with her, because nothing made sense out of her arguments. Only to realize much later that he started hallucinating, and she would come up with things like there is somebody in the house that I've hidden maybe behind the wardrobes and all those things.
Sure.
And when I opened the room and showed that there is nobody here, then I could see the confusion in her eyes that this is no longer normal.
Yeah. Sure.
And I went to psychiatrists and all those people, and then to diagnose what is happening with her. Then they pointed out that it's hallucination. It might be something that was developed by a mental breakdown.
So,
and
have you guys ever
now,
considered other options, Tibos? Like IVF or adoption, or did you decide that if we can't have the children naturally, we don't consider other ways we can have them?
To be honest with you, no, we never considered that, adoption, because on her side, with me, I didn't have any problem adopting, but on her side, it was like, batlaring, and all those things, So I just stepped back, and because if I insisted, it would be like I'm sort of pushing her, and because we started living like we have accepted the situation, and if I mention it, it would be like, well, it seems like on your side you are not accepting it,
Yeah, sure. Tibos, thank you for calling us, man, and I hope that she'll be fine. I know that you're saying there were times when you think she had a mental breakdown, and that ended up in other challenges, hallucinations and arguments. I really hope that you can find peace as a couple, especially if this is a decision you've made that you don't want to try other options, but just to accept the reality. Yeah, it can be a tough one. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Tibos in Krugersdorp. Tabang, you are in Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
Sharp, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, the issue of infertility, man. I'm very sad about the insensitivity of people towards it, because I went through a situation. I think it was 2 months ago. I was talking to my friend, and then we're having this argument about football, and then he said, because I was winning the argument, he said, "Hey man, I don't have time to argue about these things because I'm busy worrying about how to feed my kids." And then he said this as a very young friend of mine. I think there's a plus 10 years age gap between me and him, because I'm 37 years of age this year, and I do not have any kids. Not because of maybe I haven't tried. I have tried with 2 previous partners that I had. We were like, at the time, we were all trying to have kids.
Yeah.
These previous 2 partners, and then I really put it to myself that the problem is on my side, because of both of them. After we broke up, and then they found other partners, they managed to have kids, and to this day, I do not have any kids. I do not have any history of having a partner maybe who aborted a child.
Yeah.
in my information. So it's even now like I'm shaking inside at the thought of not being able to pass my genes through to another generation because of for me as a man, Clement, I feel like you can do a lot, but not being able to do that as a man, I feel like you sort of failed. You have failed to grow the family and stuff like that, and it's very hard. I just wish people could be sensitive towards people like that, people like us. I've never really went for medical checkups or anything like that. I just know that after so many years of trying, having patient partners who are like, you know what, you're going to be all right, and then at the end of the day, there's nothing, and then we end up breaking up.
Yeah.
Those people end up having their kids. So, yeah.
Sure, Tabang. Yeah, thank you for calling, man, and sharing the story with us. Do you not want to have it checked out, maybe with a doctor? Because maybe there could be other options as well that they put on the table for you.
I'm one person. I'm scared of. Let me say, I'm scared of the truth. I just cannot bear hearing the whatever specialist is out there telling me that, hey, Maxwell, you unfortunately you cannot have kids. I just keep going autopilot. Like if I don't have any kids going forward from now, it's okay, man. It's okay.
Yeah.
But then I'm afraid of the truth. Yeah.
I get you, Tabang. I think, and also just take your time. You don't have to rush it. You have to do it when you're ready to do it. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. And I really hope that this can also send a message out there about the importance of sensitivity, guys. Like we cannot claim to love people around us, and we are so insensitive about some of the difficult things that they go through. If you know that your friend is unable to have their own children, why do you make jokes about their inability, or why are you constantly 24/7 talking to them about how you are finding ways to take care of your children, to feed your children? I think that requires a lot of emotional maturity about how we address these issues with our loved ones who may be facing these situations. And even when sometimes we don't know, we need to tread carefully when we deal with our loved ones who don't have kids, because we don't know what the reason is that they don't have kids. So I really hope that what Tabang's call is doing is just encourage us to be a little more sensitive to other people that are going through the same thing. Mimi, you're calling us from Rondebult. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, Mimi. Go ahead.
No, I just needed to comment to say that this really hits home. You know, it's a very sensitive issue. I'm looking, when I started trying to conceive, it was early in my early 20s when I got married. And I also got paralyzed when I was 31. But I kept on hoping that one day it will happen. But till this day, it hasn't been happening. And I'm now 50, and I feel that that door is closing up on me. And, you know, it's important to sensitize our communities, because it's like it's an expectation that when you reach a certain age or when you are married, then you are required to have kids. Because when you meet someone and is asking you, Guti, how many kids do you have? And when you're like, no, I don't have, it's like, oh, why? As if it's done on purpose, and yet you've been struggling. They don't understand the struggles that you go through. But I'm also glad that you're talking about this, because we are also planning an event on the 30th to invite all the women to come and speak about this and open up those wounds, because you can imagine how many that are sitting in their corners and they don't have anybody to talk to.
True.
But you've just alerted something on me now, that it's not only women. We always leave men out there who are also suffering the same pain. I was just listening now to the previous caller. So I think we also need to restructure our invitation and also invite those men because I think they are also suffering the same pain.
Yeah, there are many of them that are dying silently, Mimi, because for them, even they're asked, some of them don't even want to admit it. But when they know that there are other people going through the same thing, they would love to talk about it. I'm sure they feel they can relate. Tell me about your event, Mimi. It's on the 30th of July. Where?
It's going to be here at Roundabout. We're going to do a picnic setup where we're trying to get the social worker and the psychologist because we understand that we might have triggers on other people. So at least we would have a professional help for intervention. So we're still busy trying to organize and get sponsors for that. But definitely our poster is out. We're sending it out there hoping that we get support as much possible as we can. But I think we'll also extend it to the guys as well.
Yeah, please can I ask you to forward us that poster as well. Just forward us on our WhatsApp line and I'll share it with other listeners who may be listening and they think I do want a community. I want people that I can talk to. Just lastly, before you go, Mimi, how did you accept that reality for you? Have you accepted or did you consistently hope that at least one day maybe there can be a miracle? How did you deal with that reality?
As much as I feel that 50 is now bringing me to reality that chances now are very slim, but with my partner, we haven't closed that door completely. We keep on hoping. The other day, we were making a joke about it, and I said, if we were to have a child now, they would think that we are grannies of the child. They won't consider us as parents.
Hey, you never know. You never know, Mimi, of the possibilities. Miracles do happen. Mimi, in Roundabout, thank you so much for calling us and thank you for the work you're doing to create a community for people who are struggling with acceptance or people who have to deal with the emotional impact on infertility and creating a community where they can just sit and talk and release and soothe that pain. It's 10:32. Fiso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. We're going to come back with more of your calls, your WhatsApps, as well as you share your experiences with us with how you are healing from that emotional impact of infertility. How have you been affected? How has your relationship been affected? Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Civil society groups, political parties and some Durban residents are marching in the metro this morning to show support for KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi recently made damning allegations that the country's police system has been infiltrated by crime syndicates allegedly linked to Police Minister Sinzo Mchunu and Deputy Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. The people are calling for Mkhwanazi to be protected after National Commissioner Fani Masemola confirmed last week that security has been bolstered for the provincial top cop. Mpumalanga Premier Mandla Ndlovu has reshuffled his cabinet. Education MEC Kathy Dlamini is one of the executive members who've been removed. Ndlovu says the position will now be filled by Lindy Masina. And a drone strike has forced a U.S. company to suspend operations at an oil field in Iraq's autonomous Kurdistan region amid a wave of similar attacks targeting the region's energy infrastructure. The Kurdistan Natural Resources Ministry says the Sarseng oil field was hit, calling the strike an act of terrorism against the Kurdistan region's vital economic infrastructure. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the N1 South towards Midrand, traffic remains very slow between the Brakfontein interchange and Olifantsfontein Road due to an accident between these 2 points. There's also slow-moving traffic along the M1 North coming out of Sandton towards Marlborough Drive due to another accident while heading towards Alberton via the R59 North. Do expect delays between Soft Poppies Road and the Reading interchange. There's also slow-moving traffic in Protea Glen along the R558 and the N12 West. That's due to roadworks taking place along that route. Please be on the lookout for men and women working the road. We'll be back with more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Bata. Their company manager, Lorraine Dyer, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
You've been supporting the boys your whole life.
Don't you feel like a cry?
They never gave up. And now they've made it to the finals. The finals.
Don't you feel like crying?
But you're on your couch, 12,000 kilometers away.
Don't you feel like a cry?
You can only imagine what it would feel like to actually be there.
Crying.
Now imagine not just being there, but getting seats 5 rows up at the halfway line.
Oh, yes!
Invest early. You'll be so happy you did. Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is a registered FSP.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving. At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
When we talk about abuse, we often picture women and children, and that focus is essential. But the truth is, men can be victims too. And some men who have caused harm are ready to take responsibility and break the cycle. Tune in to 702 Drive this Thursday when the Discam Foundation opens the conversation around men and gender-based violence, from the silent victims to those seeking help and accountability. Remember, every time you swipe your Discam or Baby City benefit card, you help fund initiatives that support survivors and break destructive cycles. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
702
Healing Hour.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock on our Healing Hour this morning, we are healing from the emotional impact of infertility. Have you had to deal with infertility? How have you healed from that? Have you accepted the reality, perhaps, that you can't have children? What else have you tried? How has it affected your relationship or your marriage? You can give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702.
7.
Clement, how are you? First time on this show to talk on radio. The topic that you're having today is very touching, especially on my side. Please, I would like to be anonymous. I've been with my woman for the past 4 years. During those 4 years, we have had like 4 miscarriages. It was not the first time, because my previous relationship, all the women that I've had, they had like the first woman, she had a miscarriage, the second one, she had a miscarriage. So I'm just a 32-year man. But I'm just glad that even though my wife now, she's having those problems, but we're still together, our love is still strong. I still believe that God one day will intervene, and one of the days we'll have our own kids. Okay, I hope you read my message here. Thanks a lot. I would love to hear from the encouragement from the other people and hear what they have done to overcome such things.
And that's precisely why we have the Healing Hour, so that we encourage other people that may be going through the same thing, because this is a reminder that you're not alone, and you can also hear how other people have dealt with it. So I really hope that you find that encouragement so you can start your own journey of healing. Some of the messages that have come through here, some texts. Hi Clement, I'm dealing with infertility as a man. My wife and I are both 37. I have sought medical advice, but the only choice may be the expensive IVF with a donor. Sometimes I feel that she blames me when she asks if I really want kids, but this isn't my choice. This isn't by choice. That's a message there from Anonymous. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And that's why I'm asking about how this has also affected relationships and marriages. Because sometimes you end up subconsciously, you are blaming your partner, who may be the one perhaps who has got challenges with infertility. And sometimes you end up blaming them for the fact that they're not able to have kids with you. And that is what ends up deteriorating and ruining marriages and relationships. Another passage from Anonymous says, "Hi Clement, this is truly an emotional issue for me. I'm married now for 28 years and I do not have kids of my own. Initially, I had 2 miscarriages and this was followed by treatment for endometriosis, which was successful, and my doctor felt that I was all good to fall pregnant. The problem arose when they decided to do tests on my husband just to rule out any other issue. He, however, refused to cooperate, and later it transpired that he actually did not want children because he will not be able to support his parents financially if he has kids. He never mentioned this at any stage before we got married. He just seemed disinterested in having children, and this man, and his main focus is just on his parents." Yeah, that sounds so unfair, right? Because, doesn't even the Bible says a man should leave home and his parents? But now your responsibilities are different. Surely this is a conversation to have with a partner. Are we ready for kids? When are we at a point where we're going to get kids? When do we start that conversation? At the very least, a conversation and a compromise has to be reached, because you're not the only person in that marriage.
Oh, Clement, this is a very touchy subject. Me and my partner, we have lost 4 pregnancies in 3 years. And it's just painful, man. Each time when I see pregnant women, or when I have to send a congratulatory message to a couple that have just given birth, oh, it's painful. Then you've got the family, at family gatherings, they ask you all these insensitive questions, like, why can't your partner keep babies in a womb? What's wrong with her? Do you want your mother to die without her holding your kids? What are you doing about it? And then they start to give you all these advices publicly at a family event, very loudly, speaking so loudly that everyone can hear. It's a lonely, lonely, lonely journey. It's difficult, man. But I haven't given up. I've given it to God. Walter from Cape Town.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't give up, Walter. Jacob, you are in Soweto. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
I'm good, thanks, man. Clement, I had a similar problem years ago when we got married with my wife. We couldn't have children. And traditionally, our parents sent us to traditional healers, to church, to be prayed for and all those things. But nothing happened, Eventually, we decided to go see the GP. And the GP referred us to a gynecologist, who then discovered that my wife's fallopian tubes were blocked. So they were unblocked, and my wife conceived, and we have 3 beautiful children. They are grown up and they are married.
Wow.
So, but to tell the truth, on my side, I was not stressed because it was early ages of our marriage. But my wife was really stressed because, Abu Mama Zala, they want children, So, yeah, it took a toll on her. And, but fortunately, it worked out well for us after going to the gynecologist, So I would encourage people to maybe consult, go to the gynecologist and all that, especially men, because men, it's something that they run away from. They consider themselves, that's all, just my input.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us, Jacob. And I'm glad that things turned out like that for you and your partner. And of course, in other cases, it's not even a case of, fallopian tubes being blocked. Some people are, have got, bigger issues where the possibility is completely ruled out. But yeah, it's always great to hear stories of people who have struggled for a bit, but ultimately they managed to conceive. Another message from Anonymous says, "Hi Clement, this is someone in Alberton. I was a miracle baby. Me and my brother were born in the same year. He is in Jan and me in December. My mom didn't know she was pregnant with me. No movement, no cravings, nothing. First she knew, the first time, I think you're trying to say the first time she knew was when her water broke. She thought she was getting fat. So she drank diet pills. When I was born, I didn't have a single drop of blood. So that miracle happened. Was very sick as a child up to the age of 13. Was 80% of the time in hospital because of all the meds. I'm sterile. I was with the love of my life for 8 years. Because of me not being able to have kids, she left me. Got married, had 3 kids. And this year, it's 12 years I've been single. Never had anyone after that." Oh, what a sad story, Anonymous. I'm sorry to hear that. And it's so difficult when, especially the person you love so much, that you believe is the love of your life, is not able to accept the reality that both of you are facing in the relationship. And they can just leave to fulfill that yearning to have a child. And maybe for them, that's the biggest thing that they wanted in life. And of course, they've got every right to decide how to go. But, the pain of the person who's been left because they are unable to have children and it's not their doing. I can only imagine how painful that is, Anonymous. I hope you are healing. I hope you can start that journey of healing, and I hope you can find someone who is able to accept this reality and maybe even consider other options for you guys if that's something you would like to consider, to have kids. Another one says, "Hi Clement, myself and my wife had our first twins when she turned 49. Turned out to be medical technology. This is after a few miscarriages in the 15 years of marriage. Thank God my parents were supportive, so it's never too late, but it's very, very expensive." That's a message from Anonymous. Another one says, "Clement, keep me anonymous here. The topic is quite interesting and emotional for me, as I've always wanted the child for the past years, since 2016, and yet there's nothing. Sometimes you leave relationships, then they end up being pregnant, and then it just haunts you. And I'm really afraid to test." Yeah, I'm getting this a lot from men who are afraid to go get checked out. And I think, maybe we should do something. We should do something on the show about just something that can encourage men to go test out. Maybe look at the positives of checking out. I mean, the caller we got earlier, where the wife went to check. Yes, it was the wife this time around, but the wife went to check, and the fallopian tubes were blocked. And once they got medical intervention, she was able to bear children. And maybe even as a man, if you check, there are possibilities that you could find ways to move around that. So maybe we should bring in some experts who can talk to us about just the importance of testing and what other options are available for you as men, should you even find that you are dealing with challenges with infertility. Noni, you are calling from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah, so mine is just a comment to say, I think people in our families, people in our circles need to be a bit more sensitive, on topics around having children, because people can ask you these type of questions in a certain way. A lot of other people are listening. And now this is a problem for you too. I have one child, but I haven't been conceiving for another one, right? And my child is 6 years. So I sometimes face comments like, when are you getting your child a brother? This one is getting older. Oh, no, you're wasting time. Oh, no, you're going to forget how things are done, And it might be well-meaning, but considering the fact that you also can't explain what is happening in your body, and people now start making comments like that in public, I do feel like maybe people might consider, if you are really concerned about someone, and maybe speak to them privately, because that's the most constructive way. It's just the two of you. You're getting the message across, whatever you want to say. Yeah. But I don't think it's as well-meaning now when you say it and 8 other ears are listening. Now I must explain that, no, actually, I want a child. I'm not on contraceptives, but this is that, but this is that, So it actually amplifies it amplifies the frustration, Even if, for me, I'm not in a hurry and all of that. But once people start talking, I get frustrated because you might end up answering wrong.
Yeah, and putting pressure on yourself based on people's expectations and questions. Noni, I hear you. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Another message on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, the person who put pressure and treated me differently is my mom, my own mom, followed by my female siblings, then every other woman. I think people should stop asking when are you having a child. In most African cases, our parents' actions lead to our infertility. I'm at a state where I don't attend family gatherings because I'm trying to avoid that topic. The most painful part is that IUI and IVF are expensive. They drain you emotionally, physically, and financially. During the school holidays, they will send their kids to you because you are working. You have money that needs to be spent on by their kids. It's so sad not being appreciated based on your status. Another one says, Clement, good morning. I'm glad that you brought up the male side. That was the case with us. My husband is the one who is infertile, and to date, people still think that I was the problem. We adopted 2 beautiful children who are the love of our lives. One is studying matric next year, and our eldest is moving into his apartment at the end of the month. Adoption was a beautiful blessing to us. Oh, that's amazing to hear. Such an amazing story to hear there. Dr. Tomi Mashiro is a clinical psychologist who's just going to help us, wrap it all up, this conversation. As you can imagine, there are people that are triggered by this, that have been left sad, just being reminded of perhaps that impossibility for them to bear children naturally, and maybe some of them maybe have given up. So Dr. Mashiro, thank you so much for joining us as we wrap up the Healing Hour. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Clement, and good morning to the listeners.
Yeah, I must say, I'm so glad that a lot of the men came out in their numbers today to tell their story, because often it's women who often call in and they are comfortable enough to share their stories with dealing with infertility. But we've taken most of the calls and voice notes and have come from the men themselves, which just tells you, again, that we are misinformed when we think when people are struggling to conceive couples, then we must look at women. What's your advice for couples that are going through this now? I mean, one of the listeners called and said, my partner was always accusing me of being the problem and was always blaming me for the fact that they don't have children. How do couples deal with something so difficult?
I think it's firstly important to note that, there's so much pressure from society, personal pressure, family pressure, expectations to bear children because of age, marriage, or even just because they bring meaning in life. But we don't know what we don't know, meaning you don't know actually if you will bear children or if you will not, or if you will have healthy children or if you will not. And I think that's where the difficulty is, because when you don't have, then you are, functioning from a place of lack, from a place of pain, and that is what we need to assist you with professionally, right? Because with that comes a lot of grief, in that you are grieving the child you didn't have, the child you are unable to bear, and that comes with a lot of feelings such as shock, denial. There's a lot of anger, blame. Some people regret. Maybe they were pregnant before and something happened with that pregnancy, or they terminated the pregnancy. Now they're struggling, or maybe they're just blaming themselves, or just regretting the life decisions, for example. And with infertility, the cause is to be determined by a medical professional. So we need to really recommend to people to seek that medical viewpoint. And I know one of the callers says they're so scared to even, find out the answer. And I can encourage them by just saying that you don't know what you don't know. Right. The odds are always 50-50, right? You don't know what the result. They might say, like, I think one of the callers mentioned that their tubes were blocked. It could be something that can be fixed so that you can actually be able to bear children if they are important for you in your life. So I think as couples, when they say for better or worse, for people who get married, that is sometimes the worst, right? Where infertility doesn't, happens or is introduced into the relationship. And I think that's where the counseling is so important. And I think that's what is not always prioritized. I think oftentimes we think about the happy day, but we don't actually comprehend what we say when we say for better or worse. And worse is not disrespect. It's things like these where someone can become, they can be involved in an accident, something happens, they can lose a job, and infertility is one of those things.
Yeah. How do we support those that are dealing with this? Because sometimes there's just no emotional maturity to even navigate conversations so that we avoid triggering or just being unfair on people that may be struggling to have kids, because we're constantly asking, where are the kids? You've been married for so long, and especially where we know that there are challenges. How do we support our loved ones, whether it's my partner who can't conceive, when we went for checkup, or it's a sister, it's a friend? How important is that support, and how can we show up for them?
It's very key, the support. Now, the difficulty with psychological or psychiatric challenges or things like your anxiety that comes from not having children, or the depression, or whatever it is the person is struggling with, the person must want the help for the help to be beneficial, right? So how you can support is, use the words I always say to people, when you say to someone, you're always sleeping, you're always doing this, you always rather say, I'm concerned, are you okay? I'm always here for you. Do you want to talk? Right? And the person has to be ready, unfortunately, to talk about that. But if you're seeing, and I think there was a caller who mentioned that the wife is just completely struggling, right? I don't know if they have tried voluntary help, as in taking them to see a psychiatrist where she's not taking medication. And I think he mentioned that she is suicidal. In those instances, he can speak to the psychiatrist where an involuntary admission route can be taken, right? Where if someone is a risk for themselves or a risk for others, where, she can be assisted in that way. It's not always good to watch, but it's essential in instances where someone is really not functioning well because of their mental health challenges or their life is at risk. So that's what I can recommend in that scenario, but also for himself as well, because watching his wife fade away, in the words that he used, he will need, support to really navigate what's going on in there, and how to actually be in a place to actually support his wife. But the other people supporting, as I said, I think it's always important to understand like, let's just mind our language, let's be kind, right? Having children, yes, it might bring meaning, but you actually don't know the type of child you'll get also, right? They might bring a lot of burnout and stress and. So the child does not necessarily define you as a human being. And we need to just be gentle when it comes to that and understand that it's not always easy. There can be challenges. It doesn't mean that it's always natural, and other methods, be open to other methods of bringing children into the world, such as adoption, IVF, etc.
And speaking of other methods, I'm going to wrap up with this message. But yeah, Dr. Tumi Mashiro, clinical psychologist, thank you so much for wrapping it up for us. I'm going to wrap up with this message from someone who says, "Good day, Clement. I'm a proud lesbian mom. I'm a recipient of sperm donations. Like many others, I was under lots of pressure from parents about having kids and rejection by family. As a lesbian woman at 33 years, I tried through artificial insemination. It took 3 years before I finally conceived through AI. I got twin boys, 9-year-old now. I am now 45 years, and we are a same-sex couple and very happy with our family. I want to encourage all women out there that there are aided reproductive methods for reproductions. Visit a gynae, have your tubes and womb scanned for any abnormalities, and visit a fertility clinic for some advice." And I think that's some sage advice from Anonymous, who is just sending us a story about her own journey. Thank you for all the stories you've sent us, for sharing your experiences with us. It's 11 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Civil society groups, political parties and some Durban residents are marching in the metro this morning to show support for KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi recently made damning allegations that the country's police system has been infiltrated by crime syndicates allegedly linked to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and Deputy Commissioner Shadrack Sibia. The people are calling for Mkhwanazi to be protected after National Commissioner Fani Masemola confirmed last week that security has been bolstered for the provincial top cop. Today's march is one of many that have been planned for the week in different parts of the country. The MK party in Johannesburg says it also supports Mkhwanazi ahead of an inquiry into corruption in the South African Police Service. Tabiso Goba reports.
KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has been out of the public eye since his controversial media briefing on the 6th of July. The people he implicated, including Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibia, have rubbished his claims as wild speculation. MK Party Gauteng spokesperson Abel Dow says Mkhwanazi would not risk his life and career just to speculate.
If we don't stand up as citizens of this country now and take this opportunity to really finally put a clear marker between us and those who are against society, it will never come again anytime soon, an opportunity like that.
Following its two hands-off Mkhwanazi marches in Johannesburg and Durban yesterday, the MK party is having another one in Cape Town today. The party has another one planned for Friday at the Union Buildings in Pretoria, where it promises to bring Gauteng to a standstill. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
Staying in Durban, the eThekwini Metro Municipality has responded to claims by the DA that it failed to take responsibility when flood victims were evicted from temporary residence. At least 150 people were left stranded when the Bayside Hotel threw them out on the streets over the delayed payment of 128 million rand by government. The DA called on the South African Human Rights Commission and Public Protector to investigate any possible violations, calling for the Metro to account for the eviction. The Metro, in the meantime, said that the DA must stop playing politics, as Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Last week, when the flood victims were left destitute, Human Settlement MEC Siboniso Duma went to Gauteng to meet with the ministry to resolve the matter. This was followed by a 30 million rand purchase of the Montclair Lodge to house the victims. Despite this intervention, the DA says the Metro should have acted first since the victims are residents of eThekwini. DA eThekwini caucus leader Thabani Mthethwa.
Whether those people were put in there by national or provincial government as part of the municipality should have taken responsibility in making sure that they are taken care of.
City spokesperson Gugu Sisilana.
City manager Mcebisi said the actions of reporting the Bayside Hotel evictions of the flood victims to the Human Rights Commission and the Public Protector is an exercise in futile political grandstanding because the matter relating to the dignified resettlement of flood victims has been sufficiently dealt with by all spheres of government.
Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Mpumalanga Premier Mandla Ndlovu has reshuffled his cabinet in the province. Education MEC Kathy Dlamini is one of the executive members who've been removed. Ndlovu says the position will now be filled by Lindy Masina. Earlier this year, the Provincial Education Department was embroiled in scandal involving the purchasing of 22 laptops at a price tag of 2 million rand for staff. While the department confirmed the purchases, it said MEC Dlamini was not involved in the procurement process. The department said the devices were meant for its management's information systems and information and communication technology teams. Premier Ndlovu says that the decision to reshuffle his cabinet was not influenced by opposition parties.
If the premier is captured by the opposition, then they will not capture the ANC officials in the province. Before, you must go and make a presentation and must give reasons. You must prepare. Face this comrade and tell them the reason why do you want to reshuffle. After, you must meet with the alliance. So they will not allow you.
And a drone strike has forced a U.S. company to suspend operations at an oil field in Iraq's autonomous Kurdistan region amid a wave of similar attacks targeting the region's energy infrastructure. The Kurdistan Natural Resources Ministry says the Sasang oil field was hit, calling the strike an act of terrorism against the Kurdistan region's vital economic infrastructure. A fire broke out following the explosion, which did not cause any casualties. The latest attacks come at a time of heightened tensions between Baghdad and the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Earlier this year, Iraq's federal authorities filed a complaint against the autonomous Kurdistan region for signing gas contracts with 2 U.S. companies. Gold is trading at $3,364.22 an ounce. The rand is at 17.79 to the dollar, 23.92 to the pound, 20.89 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.77 a barrel.
And in the traffic, motorists are being advised to avoid the M1 South. This is between Marlborough Drive and Corlett Drive. This is due to an e-hailing purchase taking place along this route. Please try to avoid. The delays are about a 15-minute hold-up at this moment. If you are traveling in Edenville, delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 19 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: civil society groups, political parties and some Durban residents are marching in the metro this morning to show support for KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Entries to the 702 Walk the Talk are open. Go to primemediaplus.com to get your tickets today.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
It's 8 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us. Time for our World of Work feature.
702.
World of Work.
Today on our World of Work feature, we are talking about how to digify your business. How are you integrating digital skills in your business? And if you've done that, how has it impacted your business? Has it helped elevate it? We've got small businesses and informal traders that honestly are missing out on the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution, which could help them increase profits and boost sustainability, especially with our national unemployment rate at just over 30%. These digital skills can be essential to economic growth and job creation. There's actually a new study by DigiBiz in South Africa showing that more than half of small businesses are not ready for the digital future, often adopting technology reactively rather than strategically. So your informal traders, many of whom are women, by the way, face that additional hurdle, such as the high costs of cut machines, the lack of smartphones. There's also the limited access to data and training. So basic digital tools, whether you are looking at WhatsApp or the mobile payment apps, those could actually help them grow. In fact, experts often argue that digital inclusion must start by meeting these businesses where they are and providing training that fits into their daily realities. And that's the conversation we're having this morning. If you're a business owner, you want to share with us perhaps what you have managed to, how you've managed to benefit from just incorporating and integrating digital skills in your business, please share that with us. Maybe you are a small business or you're an informal trader or you own a business and you want to know, how do I step into that next level of digifying my business? You can call on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp on 0727021702. Pashida Pandey is the partnership coordinator at the Entrepreneurial Planning Institute, who's going to guide us through this chat. Rashida, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Thank you so much, and good morning to you, and good morning to your listeners. I'm very excited to be here.
So I mentioned that from what I've seen, it looks like we do have small businesses and even informal traders that are being left behind in the digital revolution. What have you observed?
Absolutely, yes. The challenges with that is, there is, in the reality of our country, is that we have limited tech infrastructure, especially in the townships and in the rural areas. And this is largely where our informal traders are operating, right? So often what happens, or what we get from the people within our programs, is that they have lack of access to data. They can't join online. Even if they can join online, the network quality isn't that good for them to do the work they need to do. Those types of things. It's also about like fear. Some people still have a fear of the digital world, thinking that they'll be scrutinized. Things like SARS is a reality for South Africans, and so many small businesses, they sort of living, as we say, hand to mouth, and often they don't have extra expenses to pay for these digital services, like having a business bank account or having extra money to be able to afford these kinds of tools and infrastructure. So that's a reality that we face. But yeah, that's what I would say. That's predominantly why small businesses get left behind.
Yeah, and what do you think are some of the common digital tools that small businesses aren't using but should be using?
Well, in the era that we live now, there are so many free and affordable tools, such as WhatsApp for business. There's your digital payment systems. There are bookkeeping apps that can help you with reducing that admin, that heavy admin that you have within your businesses. Quite significantly. The social media, most of these just require you to have an email address, and you could be able to have your own shop, or at least direct people to your shop, advertise, reach your customers, and for the most part, these things are free tools, until you, of course, make enough to have a budget, I suppose, to upgrade even further.
Yeah, and the biggest obstacles, when we look at informal traders, what are they facing when it comes to adopting these digital tools, especially in townships and rural areas? Often you hear that, we don't have the money, this thing requires some capital for some investment of sorts. And we don't
Yeah.
have those resources.
100%. So I've mentioned to you earlier about, connectivity challenges, the cost of internet, the fear of the SARS, that kind of scrutiny. But one thing I didn't talk to you about is the low digital literacy. And I can definitely say that South Africa is moving in a direction where we are not lacking because we're not willing. It's more so that we're approaching it in not the most suitable way. And what I mean by saying this is often when we think about digital literacy, we think of what's the best apps out there. Often we get the request, send me your top 10 best apps that we should use in our business. And often we find that could sometimes even be a step back, right? Because what happens is every business has its own unique challenges, and every business is at its own unique point in their journey. So we need to be able to identify for ourselves, where am I at in my entrepreneurial journey, and what digital tool can I use to be able to improve that part of my journey? Because often as entrepreneurs, we know where we are, where we are struggling in our business. We know if it's a sales issue, we know it's because there's no money coming in. What can we do to help improve our sales? Well, you may want to start with something like a WhatsApp business account, for example.
Yeah.
So be not guided by the tool, but rather by your need and where your business is at, is what I would say.
So fascinating, because you would think, when you look at our individual personal lives, Rashida, you'd think that we're so advanced, but there's still this big gap between the digital tools that are used in our personal lives and those that are used in small businesses.
100%. And we're very fast moving towards a world where those things kind of overlap, where the same tools that you can utilize to optimize your home, as a home, to be more efficient, to plan your day, to plan the kids' day, to plan your life in general, and even engage, even network, even, meet others that you would not have normally met if you weren't on these platforms. But then you also get the business side, where that very same tools can be used to enhance the business offerings that you have. Even if you are an informal trader, I'll give you an example. There's a township bakery that uses the WhatsApp live location to coordinate deliveries with informal vendors. Because remember, informal vendors doesn't necessarily always have the same location. So what they would do is they would order, they send their WhatsApp live location as to exactly their pinpoint their location. And this allows then the company that's delivering to be able to actually deliver to them where they're at. So you see how digital kind of tools are bridging the gap between our ability to do business and stimulate the economy. It's just that I think the biggest challenge is our approach is that we're looking for the best tool and not addressing the need.
Yeah, 011-883-0702. Are you a small business? Are you an informal trader? Maybe you are not a small business, but as an employer, you're trying to find ways to digitize your business. Where are you struggling? What questions do you have? Maybe you need some tips, some advice on how to start that process of just integrating in your business, just integrating those digital skills in your business. Or maybe you want to share with us your experience. How have you gone about integrating those skills? How have you digified your business and digitized your business, and what's been the impact? There are some people, Rashida, that often worry or fear SARS or other authorities, and that impacts on their willingness to use these digital payment options. Why is there fear around that, and how do they move around it so that they still are responsible for what's expected of them from SARS? What is it that they don't understand there?
Yeah, well, speaking as an entrepreneur myself as well, and also started out having an informal business. In the beginning, on the entrepreneurial journey, you almost want to have everything in place. And I think that what happens is often we don't realize the burden of the admin, and even the admin cost that comes along with having a business. That annual return rate, just maybe 5 years in your business, it may become irrelevant. But in that very first year of your business, every rand counts, every rand adds up, every rand contributes towards that bread on the table. So for you to go now and open a bank account and hear that, oh wait, you have to pay, 300 to 500 rand a month to have a business bank account. You have to purchase a Yoko. You have to purchase many other financial tools. You get bank charges. All of those eventually leads to money you could have utilized to spend in your business. If you think of informal traders, they buy minimum order quantities of stock. So some of them will buy 200 rands worth of luxuries to be able to have that little spaza shop or little tuck shop, and thereby grow it. So in the beginning, I almost want to say, I think that there's not enough solutions in the financial space for those entrepreneurs. They are trying, and of course there's many programs, and banks want to get into the informal economy. That just be said. Most of these corporates and big banks, they want you as an entrepreneur to get onto the digital payment system, do digital payments. It will also open up the doors for funding because you have something to track. So there's opportunities and possibilities, but still it comes at a huge cost to the entrepreneur. And I think that's the next gap we need to bridge as well.
Andrew, let's take your call now. You're calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
From Rosebank, thanks. I run a law firm called Goldberg Attorneys, and what we really battle with is getting invoices out. It seems like lawyers want to do law and not to do invoicing.
Yeah.
Any advice we can get in that regard?
Yeah. Thanks for that, Andrew in Rosebank. Thank you. Yeah. Rashida?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know what is it? We're living in an era of AI, right? And I said I'm an entrepreneur. So what I did the other day when I was actually assessing this very issue, where I was saying I hate admin, I actually typed that into our little ChatGPT to say, give me recommendations. I am a one-man or 10-team administrator. We don't really like to do admin. I want to buy a little accounting software package. I don't want to pay too much. I give all the specifics when I, use ChatGPT prompting. And it recommended a few tools for me. So things like Zero came up and Sage. And many of these kind of bookkeeping software will have a trial built in for you to check. And often what you can do, if you spend a little bit of time in the beginning, just to program, to put all your products, your services as a business, you would then be able to easily, conveniently send out invoices using any one of these tools. But again, just leading me back to the point where I say you have to look at where your business is at. And do your research. It's okay. Don't think there's this one tool for everyone. Some tools are for larger corporations. Some tools are for one-man businesses. So it's really about taking a snapshot of where you're at in your business and finding the tools that meet you where you're at. And AI can do a lot and help you with that. Also, with DigiBuzz, we have the mydigiscore.com assessment. So that assesses you where your business is at in terms of your DigiScore. Right, and that DigiScore, you'll get a result to tell you where you're at and potentially even recommend what you should be addressing in your business at that point. So that could also be a tool you could use as well. But I would definitely say a combination of just knowing where you're at, feed that into the AI, ask them for recommendations, speak to a couple of your friends, and then make that decision. Ultimately, it's also about taking the risk. Because sometimes a lot of companies, they don't want to change the system for fear of something new. But what we often realize beyond that, when we do take that leap, things become more easier. So it's also that mindset that you have to build within your organization.
Yeah. And then someone says, hi, Clement, I heard Rashida talk about WhatsApp. Can something as simple as WhatsApp really help an informal trader grow their business?
Absolutely. And what's really interesting about WhatsApp is, okay, you've got different kind of two main sort of WhatsApps you get. You get the WhatsApp that everyone uses for their personal, engagement, and you keep it there. But you also get a WhatsApp for business. So these two apps can actually exist simultaneously on your device, provided you have two separate numbers. But anyway, so you get these two, and you can literally run your business off WhatsApp. An example how WhatsApp could help your business. So as a start, you may want to create a community around your business. So what some people do, they would add their customers into a group and promote their products. I know a lot of resellers, they will have these WhatsApp groups, and people who buy from them regularly want to know what stock they have, and they promote these stocks in their WhatsApp groups. When things are uploaded, it's like a closed-knit community. Within the WhatsApp for business as well, you've got the WhatsApp catalog, which literally people can order from you. So you can receive orders in real time as people are making them. All you need to do is literally just list get your good quality picture, what the product is, the price, and it all will just automatically come to you as orders, which you then need to fulfill. So it takes that whole admin process away from you having to continuously promote. All you need to do is just continuously be sending this WhatsApp catalog link to your, I mean, how professional is that not when people ask, what are you selling? And you're forwarding them a link and you're saying, check out my online store. By the way, all of this is absolutely free. So yeah, so those are some examples. You're more than welcome to let us know if you need some more deep down kind of help with that. That's also what DigiBiz does. So we kind of look at what is the need of our entrepreneurs, our practitioners, and we sort of look at workshops and courses that we can offer them. So if your listeners would like to join DigiBiz, where we promote and offer all of these kinds of training, we are on digibiz.africa.
So you make the assessment first of the business before you can even recommend those, before you can even intervene around what's needed, yeah?
100%.
Okay.
But the most low cost, I would say, is get on WhatsApp for Business at least.
Yes. Okay.
It's like your digital address of sorts.
What should the small business owners though be cautious of when it comes to adopting AI? Because often people raise the issue of security as a concern.
No, that is a big reality. The security side of it. And, there is this thing of this fear of laziness, that people will become lazy. But, as with everything that we have, whether it's internet, AI, we have to be cautious in general. And something, a good insight we learned last week in one of our webinars is that as much as AI can do all of these amazing things, AI will never replace heart, and it will never replace intuition. So what that tells us then is that there's always going to be a human that's going to have to influence what the machine does. So if the human is a sort of a bad human, simple word, or a good human, what comes out of the machine will be a result of what that human has intended. So if we look at it from that perspective, I would not fear. I would actually look at it as an opportunity for myself to become more human and less work focused, because now the machine does the work and we actually get to, focus and honing on the things that we love and we're passionate about. And I think when that balance is struck, humans have actually something really positive to gain from AI.
Yeah,
business as well.
What can government do though? Because I wonder if there's enough being done at government or municipal level to support digital skills development in the informal sector.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, we were fortunate as the Entrepreneurial Planning Institute, who, of course, administers the DigiBiz network. We were fortunate to be part of a program where we were doing it was a partnership with government as well as some other people, but we were literally going into the townships, and we found 20 mentors, coaches, trainers, practitioners in those two townships within Tembisa and Hammanskraal. And we went out there to do field assignments on what the needs are. So government is playing a role in that. They have recognized that there's this big need. I think government themselves are overstretched with all the things that they need to do. But digital advancement is a big priority for them. And we saw that through these rollout programs that we were actually putting our practitioners in the field, assessing people's digital needs. We worked with an organization where they do financial inclusion research, and a large portion of the research still says that lack of infrastructure, the fear of being audited, and the fear of having everything exposed, it kind of makes them resistant to the change. They would like it, but it still makes them resistant, and still today that is the case. So that is what they're doing. We have to work together. I don't think we can expect solutions from government alone.
Absolutely.
Because the corporates are the ones who own the infrastructure. That's the reality, right? So we need to figure out how can we, number one, identify the need, make sure we're addressing the right need, and then, of course, invest into these small businesses, making sure they have at least connectivity. Because, entrepreneurs are resourceful, but this is like the wall, that the elephant in the room that's staring us in the face is our infrastructure is not allowing us to participate.
Yeah, so that partnership then between corporates, the NGOs, the local councils to help close this digital gap for 100%. Small and informal businesses. All right, let's wrap up with this WhatsApp voice note.
Sure.
Clement and the team. My question is with regard to credibility and trust. Does the market embrace technology? Yes, it's fair enough to say that we are in the digital age, but does the market embrace the digital age? If not, then the technology will be just a pork pie. Thanks, David.
Rashida, your thoughts on how the market is responding?
Yes, interesting. That's a very interesting comment. There's nuances to this because there are some industries that are slower to adopt that technology than others. So the industries that are really fast, for example, that is quick to adopt is your financial services, your fintechs, your edtechs, your agri-tech. Those are very quick to adopt technology. What I've noticed in our research is where we're seeing the slowest movement is within the retail space. On the ground, of course, we've addressed that, but also because many of the retailers are long-standing businesses that come with generations of, years of experience and growth. And often to make a system change in those organizations requires a big amount of investment. So you find, like, for example, in the circular textile industry, you would have businesses that need, most of the corporates will tell you, we do business with China because it's cheaper, right? But if you look locally on the ground, we have many good CMTs, many good people who are making good textile or producing or manufacturing, but when we, just because it's a cheaper alternative, they go for that. So those kind of industries is hard, but we as the entrepreneurs, we have the most flexibility to change. So I would always almost say in these types of industries, the guys on the ground are moving faster than the big giants because they recognize the opportunity. They're right there with the customer. Whereas, for example, the corporate have already established systems and struggle to change. So yeah, that's my word of encouragement also to say, as a small business, as an informal trader, start now to adopt this culture of making life just easier for you. Stop getting bogged down by these huge terms of technology and AI. It's all about making your life and your business life more efficient, more productive, so you spend more time on the things you'd rather be doing. That's my word of encouragement.
Got it. Rashida Pandey, thank you so much for making time for us, Partnership Coordinator at the Entrepreneurial Planning Institute. Really appreciate your time. It's 11:31. Coming up next on our health and wellness feature, we're talking about kidney health. But first, the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Khomotso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. KwaZulu-Natal police say they're prepared for any eventualities during today's march in Durban in support of the provincial top cop, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The marchers are calling for Mkhwanazi to be protected and his security to be bolstered following the damning allegations he made last week, linking Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to a crime syndicate. A fire that broke out at a school hall at the Knights Preparatory School in Randburg has been contained. The blaze ripped through the hall of the school this morning. And U.S. President Donald Trump has given Russia 50 days to end its war with Ukraine or face new economic sanctions. Trump says his patience has finally snapped with Russia's President Vladimir Putin's refusal to end the deadly conflict. The U.S. president has also threatened secondary tariffs to Russia's remaining trade partners. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Motorists are being advised to avoid the M1 South between Marlborough Drive and Corley Drive due to an e-hailing transport provider protest is causing about a 20-minute hold-up along this route. Please try to avoid, if you're heading towards areas like Harlton as well as Randburg, maybe try using the N1 South instead. If you are traveling in Bedfordview, we've got an accident reported. It's on the N3 North. It happened just before the Kilulis interchange. It's causing delays coming out of Van Buren Road. There's also slow-moving traffic along the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange heading towards Protea Glen. We've got delays on the N12 West between the Klipspread Valley Road and the R558, and that's due to roadworks taking place along this route. Please be on the lookout and drive with care. I'm Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabo Jali will have your next traffic update at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6. I think really momentous speech to be given by President Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday. So what kinds of decisions might he make? What are his options?
Well, a commission of inquiry is one way of dealing with the issue. It has several advantages. It's not a perfect option. The other is to use his internal law enforcement powers, not his powers, but the state's law enforcement powers.
Advocate Paul Pretorius, advocate and evidence leader at the Zondo Commission.
John Perlman. 3 to 6 on 702.
Play for the win with the Powerball jackpot estimated at 71 million rand this Tuesday. That's right. It only takes 6 lucky numbers for your chance to make your dreams become a reality. Don't get left behind. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda Push-Up Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without MyWay's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
Step into the foldable culture with the most pocketable flip, the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. Do more without opening your phone with handy AI features. Plus, capture style and travel aesthetics to create trend-worthy selfies. Pre-order now for the exclusive double storage offer. 512 gigabytes for the price of 256 gigabytes. Offer valid until 31 July 2025. It's not just a pocket phone. It's the new Galaxy Z Flip 7. T's and C's apply.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age. Or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and phlegmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
When we talk about abuse, we often picture women and children, and that focus is essential. But the truth is, men can be victims too. And some men who have caused harm are ready to take responsibility and break the cycle. Tune in to 702 Drive on Thursday when the Discam Foundation opens the conversation about men and gender-based violence, from the silent victims to those seeking help and accountability. Remember, every time you swipe your Discam or Baby City benefit card, you help fund initiatives that help support survivors and break destructive cycles. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
702.
Health and wellness.
So on our health and wellness feature this morning, we are discussing kidney health, right? Kidney disease is an illness that affects 10% of people across the world and up to 1 in 8 people in South Africa. And it's important for us to look at what we can do, how to manage it if this is something that's affected you. In fact, data from the National Kidney Foundation suggests that up to 65% of kidney failure in South African adults is attributed to hypertension and up to 25% due to type 2 diabetes. So how cognizant are you of your kidney health? Have you ever had challenges with them? How have you managed that? You're welcome to join this conversation. You can call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note. The number to dial is 011-883-0702, or you can send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. Professor Malcolm Davis is the Deputy Chair at the National Kidney Foundation of South Africa. Professor Davis, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, maybe let's start with maybe an explanation about why our kidneys are so vital to our overall health.
So an excellent place to start. The kidneys are the major route through which the body controls basically all of what we call homeostasis, which is in essence the sort of normal levels of everything in the bloodstream. The kidneys also are a major route through which the body controls fluid balance. They determine blood pressure. They also act as an endocrine organ, which is to say that they also have a role in producing hormones. So the kidneys overall help keep fluid in balance. They help keep acid-base in balance. They help keep electrolytes, so salts dissolved in the bloodstream, within normal ranges. They are a major route through which the body gets rid of toxins that we produce all the time as part of normal metabolism. They contribute to things like the production of red blood cells, to the activation of vitamin D, which is an important factor in overall bone health. So they basically are the major route through which the body maintains sort of normal levels and homeostasis.
So when kidneys then begin to fail, what are some of the first signs or symptoms that people might notice?
So one of the problems with kidney disease is that in the early stages, where we really want to make a diagnosis so that we can intervene and slow down the rate at which the kidneys deteriorate, the disease is largely asymptomatic. In other words, people don't actually have signs or symptoms. And another problem is that as the kidney disease worsens, the signs and symptoms that people might experience are fairly non-specific. That is to say that the signs and symptoms could be attributed to a variety of other diseases. And one of the problems also is that with the sort of like gradual deterioration in kidney function as the disease worsens, those signs and symptoms may develop slowly. And so it might be difficult for people to appreciate that they are actually manifesting these signs and symptoms, basically because the slow onset means that people might sort of like not be aware of the presence of these symptoms or the impact of them on their day-to-day health. But the sort of things that one might expect to see, especially once the kidneys are really badly damaged, as would be sort of appreciated from what we said earlier about the role of the kidneys in maintaining fluid balance. So swelling, especially swelling of the face, might point to specific types of kidney disease, but also swelling of the legs, general sort of tiredness, fatigability, altered taste in the mouth, particularly, for example, metallic taste, sometimes even altered sleep patterns, changes in appetite, weight loss. All of these kinds of signs and symptoms, which, as we said, are fairly non-specific, would potentially point towards quite significant underlying kidney disease.
And then, in as far as the common causes are concerned, what are some of those common causes of kidney disease here at home?
So, as you said in your introduction, things like high blood pressure and diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, remain important causes of kidney disease in South Africa as they are elsewhere in the world. But one of the sort of like unique factors leading to kidney disease in our local context is, of course, our HIV epidemic. HIV itself, as well as some of the drugs that are sometimes used for the treatment of HIV, can contribute towards kidney disease. But really, one needs to think about kidney disease as a disease that can be, that certainly in South Africa, can or has a strong sort of genetic component as well as a socioeconomic component. And so what I mean by this is that there are certain genetic mutations that are quite prevalent in our local population, which can contribute to a sort of propensity towards kidney disease when other insults are added on top of that underlying genetic predisposition. And then really importantly in the local context is the sort of intergenerational effect of poverty as a legacy of our colonial and apartheid past. And what I mean by this is that if we think about the development of the baby in utero, so in the mother's womb, the way in which organs develop is dependent on the sort of maternal socioeconomic circumstances, in that if your mom comes from a poorer socioeconomic circumstance, the diet that she's likely to be on is likely to be sort of lower in protein that the developing baby needs in order to form organs normally. And so if your mom doesn't have access to adequate protein in her diet because she comes from poorer socioeconomic circumstances, then your kidneys are likely to develop poorer or underdeveloped as you develop in utero. And that means that when you're born with a poorer functioning kidneys than other people, which then will predispose you towards kidney disease later in life. So it's a complex sort of interplay of the traditional diseases that are associated with kidney disease, as well as genetics and socioeconomic factors in our local context.
So I imagine then like lifestyle and diet, for instance, play an important role in either contributing to or preventing those kidney challenges.
Yes, indeed. So one of those sort of significant problems or contributors to the progression of kidney disease is the sort of high salt diet that we are all on at the moment because of salt admixture into the foods that we buy every day and our reliance on sort of fast foods, etc., as well as the role of diet in leading to the development of type 2 diabetes. And that combination obviously brings forth those diseases which can contribute to kidney damage, as well as then accelerating damage to the kidneys, for example, through the development of obesity and high blood pressure from the salt intake.
Yeah. And when it comes to over-the-counter medication, what advice do you have for our listeners? I mean, some people, they rely on ibuprofen as the over-the-counter painkillers to perhaps deal with the kidney challenges. How risky are these when they're used frequently?
Yeah, so we certainly shouldn't be using ibuprofen, which belongs to a group of drugs that we call non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, for the kidneys, because these drugs are in fact toxic to the kidneys. The simple truth is that almost any drug can exert what we call a nephrotoxic effect. That's, in other words, the potential for the drug to damage the kidneys. But as you say, there are certain ones that are widely available that are perhaps more of a problem can be obtained over the counter. And certainly non-steroidals would be one of those drugs which has the potential to damage the kidneys. And quite frequently when I see patients, they will tell me that they only use the anti-inflammatories once or twice. But the fact of the matter is that whilst certainly a higher dose of anti-inflammatories over a longer period is more likely to cause kidney damage, there is the possibility that some people are just more sensitive to drugs like anti-inflammatories, and even one or two doses can be sufficient to cause significant damage to the kidney. So it's important that if you are going to use tablets that are known to have an effect on the kidneys, like anti-inflammatories, ibuprofen, as you say, it's important that you have your kidney function checked regularly, and that you should try and limit those drugs as much as possible to limit damage to the kidney.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take a quick ad break, Professor Davis. It's 14 minutes before 12 o'clock. When we come back, I want to give the listeners an opportunity to maybe ask some questions. If you are dealing with kidney challenges, your loved one is, you want to know how to support them, lifestyle changes, diet, any question you have in as far as kidney health is concerned, you can give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702. The number to dial is 011-883-0702.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Tiffany Meek, accused of her son Jaden Lee's murder, has really shocked the nation. It's understood the boy's body was found outside his home, although of course nothing is conclusive at this stage, but it isn't difficult to work out. This may have been a beating gone wrong. And so whilst many of us will say, what monster would do that to her own son, for those of you who practice corporal punishment, beware.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Proudly South African brings you the energy to the 702 Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 27th of July at Freedom Park in Tshwane. Swing by their lively water station where mascot Lolo Warona will keep spirits high with his signature dance moves. As thousands walk with purpose, it's a reminder that buying local fuels small businesses and helps create jobs. Every step counts. Every swipe matters. Support South African-made products and help build a stronger economy. Vote with your wallet. Buy local to create jobs.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
It took patience, perseverance, and audacity to get my first call-up and win with the booker. And we did it together. That's why I, Dion Free, partnered with African Bank so I can win big with a 60-month fixed deposit. Patience brings results. Join the bank that backs you. Get a 12.8% return at expiry on your investment. Visit africanbank.co.za or a branch for assistance. African Bank, audacity to believe. African Bank is a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702 family, there's a 702 family gathering, so we want you to come and walk with us. Don't be left out. We've got the 702 Walk the Talk. This is where we can all meet each other as the 702 family. It's hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. It's the 702 Walk the Talk hitting the streets on Sunday, the 27th of July. I will be there. The question is, will you? This is a chance for us to meet with each other, enjoy the fun and bars of walking together. You are going to be entertained along the way by djembe drums, brass bands, dancers, stilt walkers, even surprise appearances by Zola and Ishmael along the way, thanks to Made in Mzansi. Plus, more on-stage entertainment at the finish line. Choose your distance from the 8-kilometer, the 6.7 kilometer for Mandela Month, or the family-friendly 4 kilometers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for kids under 12. Register now on primemediaplus.com. Come and walk with the 702 family and experience the vibe. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
702.
Health and wellness.
9 minutes now before 12 o'clock. Let's go straight to your WhatsApps on 072 702 1702 as we wrap up our conversation about kidney health.
So my brother, recently we found out that his kidney is not functioning too well. He's on insulin, diabetic type 2. And just last week, he had a heart attack as well. So he has a lot of complications. And doctor says this is due to him being on insulin, so diabetics type 2. So I want to know, and his kidney is actually functioning very low. I think they said stage 3. I want to know at this moment, what can he do? What must he eat? Must he exercise, etc., to improve his kidney? And also a person that has a healthy kidney, living a normal life, what can we do to make sure that our kidney functions healthy throughout our life? So what foods should we be eating? What food should we not be eating? Is a physical lifestyle also very good for good kidney function, etc.? Thank you.
Great questions there. Professor Davis?
Okay, so maybe let's just start with the response that it's not the insulin which has caused the heart attack or the kidney disease. Certainly, listeners may be aware that usually type 2 diabetes is treated with oral medication, but there are certain conditions where we have to swap over to insulin depending on the response to oral medications. And indeed, for patients who are living with kidney disease, there are certain levels of kidney disease at which we do not use oral medications because of the risk of side effects. So I think we can just say that the insulin is probably not playing a role here. In terms of the broader and more important question, as you say, Clement, which is the role of lifestyle and exercise in treating kidney disease and in preventing kidney disease. Well, let's say that obviously, as we alluded to earlier, a healthy lifestyle and healthy diet are important factors in treating diabetes, controlling blood pressure, preventing obesity, all of which are factors that can lead to kidney damage. So a normal, healthy lifestyle, low in salt, low in added sugar, and avoiding, obviously, high-fat diets that are known to be a risk for heart attack and stroke are all sort of like interventions that we should all be making in any case, as would be, for example, a lifestyle which involves exercise, combat obesity, etc. For people who are living with chronic kidney disease, so there are certain changes that you can make to the diet which may slow down the progression of kidney disease over time beyond those sorts of like routine changes to diet and healthy lifestyle that we should all be using regardless of whether or not we're living with kidney disease. So one of the things is, for example, a diet which depends more on plant-based protein as opposed to animal-based protein may help slow down the progression of kidney disease. Just because the type of protein that's in your diet may contribute to acceleration of kidney damage over time. And then, yes, sort of exercise is really important, again, in kidney disease, not just in terms of limiting or treating obesity, but particularly in the case of the caller, for patients who had an MI, it would be important to exercise in order to maintain heart health, but obviously guided by the cardiologist, who would potentially probably advise the amount that's safe to exercise having had a recent MI. I think just by way of conclusion in this case to say that what the caller's question also illustrates is the important link between heart health and kidney disease, that the two go hand in hand, and any sort of intervention that we make should try and address both the risk of heart disease as well as the risk of kidney disease.
All right, Robert, you're calling from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, Robert. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to know, I've been a caregiver of a person who was born HIV positive, not his fault. And he's now in his 20s, and he's been diagnosed with chronic kidney failure. My two questions: could the ARVs have caused this? And secondly, what is the waiting list for a donor?
Got it. Robert, thank you for that. Professor Davis, I've got like 30 seconds left, please, if you can respond to Robert's question.
So yes, certain ARVs can damage the kidneys. It's obviously hard to know in this case because HIV itself can lead to kidney damage. The waiting list for a donor, well, it depends on your blood group. It would take on average for a deceased donor something like 6 to 8 years on the waiting list for a kidney transplant.
Sure. Jeez, that's quite long. Can we wrap up with this quick WhatsApp voice note?
Hi there, this is Clint from Dunkeld West. I just wanted to find out with regards to CKD. I'm currently CKD stage 2. My EGFR is 62. I understand if I go below 60, it becomes stage 3 and so on and so forth. At what stage would one have to get dialysis? Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Yeah. Professor Davis?
Okay, so great question. It ties into the previous two. So there are two types of kidney disease: acute, where something has happened recently to the kidney. Recently means less than 3 months. We can often correct that and restore kidney function. Chronic, where the kidney disease is going on for more than 3 months and the damage is more or less permanent. In chronic kidney disease, there are 5 stages. It depends on the level of function, which is what the call is referring to by the EGFR. Stage 5 is a GFR of less than 15, and that is the stage routinely at which we think about dialysis and a kidney transplant.
Yeah, Professor Malcolm Davis, thank you for making time for us. He's the Deputy Chair at the National Kidney Foundation of South Africa and Professor of Nephrology at Wits University.
Dear Journal, day 3049 of trying to be an adult. I still haven't bought a recycling bin, so there's a mountain of cans in my kitchen that could collapse at any moment. Anyway, what's that saying about your home being a reflection of your mental state?
Got evicted from the family home? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Formulated from 5,000-year-old Ayurvedic wisdom, refined through decades of modern science. For 95 years, Himalaya Wellness has been the trusted name in herbal care, caring for families in more than 100 countries around the world. Our clinically studied natural formulations, pure herbs, and personal care products are designed to support your health, skin, smile, and your baby's well-being. Bring the healing power of nature into your home. Himalaya Wellness. Live well, live herbal.
And they're off. Little too young, barely two, racing injured. Here comes whipped into shape, running on pain. Duct tape dreams on the outside, tongue-tied and terrified. And now discarded glory, limping to avoid the glue truck. It's beaten again, crop flying, lungs bleeding. And it's doped up glory, gets it by a nose. Now that's racing.
Cruelty is staining horse racing. The NSPCA is calling for the industry to sign their racing code of conduct. Show your support at nspca.co.za/Rein in the Pain.
Coming up
on the Midday Report.
Coming up, the Midday Report with Sidi Madia. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Clem. Good afternoon.
Sure, what's popping, vandag?
We're going to continue having this conversation, I think, for a very long time about this Judicial Commission of Inquiry that's going to come. So today we'll spend a bit of time dissecting who the acting Deputy Chief Justice Mcebisi Jonas is, his work, his ethic, what to expect, and also what's so different about this particular commission. We'll also go to KZN where marches, protests, demonstrations in support of General Mkhwanazi continue. We'll also look at, I don't know if you saw this, but the ANC is supposed to have an NEC. I think they last had one in the first quarter of the year. They're supposed to have one at least once a quarter, discussing key issues, governance. They've postponed the one that's supposed to sit this coming weekend again. NEC members find it quite suspicious why this keeps happening. Some will say to you that the appropriations bill is around the corner, that there's already enough ruction between the ANC and the DA that they don't want to upset the issue even further, because the NEC has the caucus and they're not necessarily in favor. So we'll dissect that decision to keep postponing. And we'll also speak to Outer. Outer says the SETAs, the Sector Education and Training Authorities, needs a complete overhaul in order to do its job and aid in job creation.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Sidi Madia. We'll be back tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Khomoto Modise. KwaZulu-Natal police say they're prepared for any eventualities during today's march in Durban in support of the provincial top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. A week ago, Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations of political interference in police matters. In the allegations, he implicated Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and Deputy Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. Since then, various organizations have been demonstrating, pledging support for Mkhwanazi. KZN Deputy Police Commissioner Phumelela Makhoba says they are well prepared for today's march.
We are very much prepared. We have held different meetings with organizers of these marches, and they've pledged the fact that they are going to do it peacefully.
She says given the charged environment, police are on high alert.
As KZN, as province of KwaZulu-Natal, we are always alert. We'll have our forces on the ground. We planned properly for all the marches.
A fire that broke out at a school hall at the Knights Preparatory School in Randburg has been contained. The blaze ripped through the hall of the school this morning. It's unclear what caused the fire, but investigations are underway. The school has informed parents to collect their children. The school's owner, Warren Swart, says no casualties were reported.
Our security, TAC 54, were contacted as soon as we executed the fire drill. And then they came through and they then contacted both private and state fire personnel. They must have arrived within 5-6 minutes, and then they contained the fire.
Mpumalanga Premier Mandla Ndlovu has reshuffled his cabinet in the province. Education MEC Kathy Dlamini is one of the executive members who've been removed. Ndlovu says the position will now be filled by Lindy Masina. Earlier this year, the Provincial Education Department was embroiled in a scandal involving the purchasing of 22 laptops for staff at a price tag of 2 million rand. While the department confirmed the purchases, it said Dlamini was not involved in the procurement process. The department said the devices were meant for its management information systems and information and communications technology teams. Premier Ndlovu says the decision to reshuffle his cabinet was not influenced by the opposition.
If the Premier is captured by the opposition, then they will not capture the ANC officials in the province. Before, we must go and make a presentation and must give reasons. You must prepare. Face this comrade and tell them the reason why do you want to reshuffle. After, you must meet with the alliance. So they will not allow you.
Two suspects arrested in connection with a mass murder in Bishop Lavis are appearing in court today. Anti-gang unit detectives made a breakthrough in the investigation yesterday when they arrested two men in their 20s. An 80-year-old victim is among the two men and two women who were shot and killed on Friday night. Police say two gunmen opened fire on their victims inside a bedroom and fled the scene in a VW Polo. Western Cape Minister for Community Safety, Andrew Murray, has welcomed the arrests.
I congratulate the anti-gang unit detectives. Their determination and meticulous investigative work led to this breakthrough.
And US President Donald Trump has given Russia 50 days to end its war with Ukraine or face new economic sanctions. Trump says his patience has finally snapped with Russia's President Vladimir Putin's refusal to end the deadly conflict. The US President has also threatened secondary tariffs against Russia's remaining trade partners. Russia's top trading partner last year was China, accounting for about 34% of trade. Gold is trading at $3,369.95 an ounce. The rand is at 17.80 to the dollar, 23.94 to the pound, and 20.89 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.17 a barrel.
Traffic remains sluggish in the Melrose area. That's leaving Sandton heading towards Joburg, M1 South between Greyston and Caller Drive. Also traffic a bit sluggish. This is in the Amalgam Selby area heading into the Joburg CBD on Main Reef Road between Production and Anderson Road, while in the mother city there's slow-moving traffic. That's on the N2 incoming, approaching Borchard's Quarry due to roadworks.
A fine day in Gauteng, the temperatures peaking at highs between 19 and 20 degrees. Cape Town is cloudy with a moderate northwesterly. Temperatures have peaked at 16. The top story in EWN this hour. KwaZulu-Natal police say they're prepared for any